do is live right and believe in what he said. All I gotta do is live right and believe in what he said. All I gotta do is live right and believe in what he said. All I gotta do is live right and believe in what he said. I can call him in the morning, I can call him in the middle of the night. And when I call him, he'll make everything alright. I can call him in the morning, I can call him in the middle of the night. And when I call him, he'll make everything alright. Oh, how wonderful it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of us. Oh, how marvelous it is. Yeshua promised he'll take care of us. You better. Look, I'm telling you right now, there's some folks. You know, they call it crack bread because see, I just put it down. That's all I did. I just put it down. Here. To try it and then talk to me because I remember what happened with the cookies.
So, giving y'all a little taste of what'll be going on before we start really recording. But I went live and caught a little bit of praise, singing and everything. See? Sometimes you just gotta hit record, don't tell nobody, you just press the button.
And I'm telling you, I still need you to drop me that stinking beat when we sang, it's a Holy Ghost party and the Holy Ghost party don't stop.
Anybody else? Zucchini bread?
Oh, I can drop a rhyme. This one I dropped years ago. I remember it. You want me to drop it? You want me to drop it?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
Should I do zucchini bread?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just doing this being nice because I'm gonna take whatever's left.
Y'all don't know I wouldn't pop out.
Let's see if I remember it. Ready? Jesus, Jesus, the one I can run to. All the blessings that fall come from you, my heavenly Father. The precious one born came to fix me up because my life is torn, weak and worn from the storm I was in. I pray, my dear Lord, please save me from sin. You did everything, supply my needs and all. You were there to pick me up when I was about to fall. How do you do it? Lord, you a genius from the bottom of my heart. I thank you, I mean this. I'm protected from danger. Nowadays, me safe nowhere from a stranger. You are right, and the people around me know it. None else has that much love because you showed it. You never let me down, mate. I say I praise the Lord anytime, anywhere, any day.
Hey,
there you go.
Come on,
B.A. Come on, B.A. Nah, come on, B.A. Come on, B.A. No, come on, B.A. This is praise, man. Get the Father the glory. Get the Father the glory.
Okay. Praise the Most High.
Come on, B.A. Drop one for us. Drop one for us. Drop one for us.
Let me see.
That's right.
Don't give the Lord no glory.
No, I ain't gonna give no glory.
Yeah, give him some glory. Praise the Lord. Okay.
He's out there like, wicka.
I'll do a few bars.
Hallelujah.
The Lord protect my soul. I'm feeling spiritual pain. Demons plotting on the world. Got us living deranged. I realize love is now hard. Gang. Temptation got me confused, putting steel in my brain. Steady in and out of church, your boy constantly switching. Sinful living on the edge, my Holy Spirit convicting. This world's so crooked, everybody is tripping. Satan's working overtime with his sinister pimping. I was raised as a Christian, so it's deep in my roots. Made by Father God, give you biblical proof. For the precious freedom tied around my neck like a noose. My purpose on this earth is to speak the truth from the booth. We living I for a 9 and 2 for a 2. Scandalous ways like a harlot in this game we loose. We living I for a 9 and 2 for a 2. Scandalous ways like a harlot in this game we loose.
Woo!
I'm gonna wait till it's up.
Right? Right? See? The gifts from the Father manifested, and to the Father we give the glory, right? We ain't officially starting yet. We just, you know, we live, but this is good that people see this. Okay, let me get some juice. Let me get some juice.
Hey, zucchini bread is good.
Hey, Rosita be doing her thing with the zucchini bread.
I'm gonna probably ask a request now. Request something.
We're gonna request cookies and zucchini bread.
No, I'm gonna request something else. Cause now if I know you can do zucchini bread, now I know you can do carrot cake.
Actually, don't make carrot cake because it usually calls for the nuts. And I love carrot cake, but
I supply it. But you see my great grandmother passed away back in 2012. I have not had a good carrot cake since then.
I think she likes the nuts.
that's what he's requesting.
Yeah.
Oh, good request.
He says that he'll supply.
Yeah, well, on that note, I have a couple of announcements. 2 birthdays this month, B.A. and Jesus.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I heard a request for a carrot cake.
Your daughter's
So Jesus on
Yeah, my daughter tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
Tell her happy birthday.
Sure will. Yeah, we're taking them to the skating ring and all the kin folks, all the cousins and all my kin folks on the skating ring.
Oh, you finna roll bounce?
No, I'm not bouncing.
Come on. You gotta roll bounce. V8 said I'm not bouncing.
I'm just providing the gifts and the cake. That's it.
Just to give her the cake. Okay. All right.
That's it.
Oh, and most important, Father's Day is on the
Yes.
13th.
Yeah.
The right. Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah,
we're booked here for today and for the 23rd and the 30th, and so we'll have to discuss where we're gonna be in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
I need that, we're gonna be at your house or if we need to find somewhere else. So we'll acknowledge a couple of birthdays and Father's Day, looking at maybe the Saturday the 16th.
They're doing the Juneteenth event out
Is in town here?
on the 16th. Yeah. I thought that was very interesting this time. I couldn't believe it.
They have one every year. It's just no one says anything. No one knows anything about it. So what they've been doing is a couple of churches that do it, and it's just about them. So it's been a while since people have really reached out to the community.
Yeah, because it's a few young people that's.
So we have a Juneteenth here every year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess this year particularly, there's a few younger people
Yeah.
that's involved. They're gonna add different venues to it, from what I've heard. So I most definitely would.
Yeah. So some people are interested in, is it going to be a historical event? Is it representing God, or is it just we just barbecuing at the park?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, from what I've heard, it's going to be more. Well, I'm pretty sure there are some people who are into the faith that are going to rent it. I mean, because Nathan and his wife, they're going to be involved in it. So I think that it's going to be a little bit of everything, but it's going to be more so a little bit more history, if anything. Like, I mean, they want to bring out stuff on Marcus Garvey and stuff like that. Yeah.
The base, the Black Heritage Society, they used to sponsor, they had like fashion shows and talent shows, and they mix things in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not been about that of late. But yeah, send a text message out, someone put their info out, because
Yeah, they're passing out flyers.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so what I should have grabbed one. Yes, say again. Well, I went to the barbershop I go to. We were passing out flyers up there. But from what I'm hearing, they've been passing them all out throughout the town.
Every year, there's normally been at San Fran.
Say again. This is gonna be at some park in Yuba City. I don't know.
It's normally at San Fran.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Yuba City. Yes.
So yeah, put the word out. Also, like I said, Pastor House had the flu this week, so keep him in prayer. On the graduations, keep the kids up with it, and then so we went to the hotel. They hadn't even gotten started.
Oh wow!
So we have to prepare ourselves to probably be in the summer. So we bought that AC unit this morning.
Okay.
So that's ours.
Okay. All right.
So I went to Grand Valley and got that.
Man.
So that's the only thing we do. Like I said, think about the fellowship ministry. And like I said, we keep in prayer. Sacramento, we need to find a place like this. Whatever we need to do, keep all that in prayer. Keep this place in prayer because they really haven't recognized us for being here yet. So
really,
this room is something they don't care about, so we're not really on their radar.
Okay.
Which is fine. Like I said, we get the room, so we have to be self-supportive in here.
Okay.
So
yeah, as far as another place in Sacramento, I've been kind of working with my cousin and her husband. They've been kind of slowly but surely getting into this. So they have a nice spot, and they would like to do things like this, get together, because they want to come in and be around people. Because right now they're around the same old individuals who keep the same customs. The traditional churchgoers Sunday, which is nothing wrong with that, but if they're going to go this direction, they would like to be around a group of people so they won't feel so bad making the switch. You know what I'm saying? Because once you make the switch and go this direction, them kin folks, they get the fussing. These my folks, I know. When I went this direction 10 years ago, I was doing the coke and all this kind of stuff. So,
Turn to the devil.
yeah. Most definitely. I'll kind of work with it a little bit more, but that could be it's a possibility that we could be using it, and I think they'll feel good about doing that because it gives them more assurance, and they'll be like, okay, well, at least we have a group of people to gather amongst. They won't feel so bad when my aunties get together.
Yeah. Right. For real.
So we're still good with the time. I know we talked about noon, where there's one. We're still good with that. We are here.
Well, whichever we all decide. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. If you do 1, you do 12, it's whatever's comfortable for everybody else.
So like I said, it's a fellowship, so we just bring that stuff out. If someone has something that they want to add or suggest, we just continue to grow and do those kind of things. Like I said, it's Shabbat's a fellowship, so it's about fellowship, bringing zucchini cake,
Right.
Kool-Aid,
And wine.
hang about it.
Right. Hey, for real. Shoot.
Okay. And what's the name of
So that stuff's pretty good. That's some real good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm allowing people to have seconds, over seconds. I just gotta say that.
No.
We're welcome to have thirds, though.
Huh?
You're welcome
You
to
have thirds.
We are going to take it in a minute.
Yeah.
We want to ask for his plate to go while we're going to sit.
You know he's gonna stick it in his steak.
No shame.
Yeah, so like I said, when we do Shabbat, I mean, this is the crackers and the wine. This is the communion, same word. So we want to have communion.
Fellowship,
First Sunday,
man.
we want to have real communion.
Right.
Real fellowship.
You're right.
And that's what it's about.
Straight up.
Any other events coming up? Anything?
Well, we talked about Juneteenth, and we talked about, I don't know anything else in particular other than, I mean, locally, as far as I know. I know the youth center up here is open. It's a new place. It's right by the high school, Marysville High School. They just opened that up, and they want to start doing stuff with all these kids, a lot of teenagers. So I'm gonna start spending my time up here, try to get active with the local teams out here and see what's going on at the youth center. They're starting to throw like different kind of classes on home.
They usually kick that off every summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids have nowhere to go.
Yeah, but I think the goal now is they're gonna try to keep it going for the rest, not just for the summer, but their goal was to keep it going for a while. So I figure I'd go up there, man, just see what's going on with the scenery. I don't know if they'll be as open to deal with Bible believers. So I think I'll keep that. I kind of want to put it out there, and I'm into the scriptures. I'll just check it out and see what I can do from another perspective to help.
Right.
Yeah, but now they do accept the fact that we do Bible, okay, I'll bring it, but I'm not just going to put it out there like that. Be respectful, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there's several that said, I know people think we don't really do nothing, but we've already just sponsored and participated in those things that they do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need a little money, sometimes they need help.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think
some of those events.
Yeah, because I think that's what they're trying to do. One of the ladies, it's a lady by the name of I think her name is Ruth. She's the one that's really got this going. So I guess the city's supposed to be helping her out, but the city's only going to go so far. So now with that, she's going to take advantage of that, and she's like, okay, but if we are people who are willing to help donate or help out with anything, any type of extracurricular activities or any ideas or whatever it may be to help, she's open to that. So yeah, I've been kind of talking with her the last couple of weeks on it, you know what I'm saying, trying to get a good idea of what she wants to do. I had too many people reach out to me when I was 15, 16.
Anybody else?
That's what we need, I work with the organization in Sacramento, and that's what we do. We work with kids, we say from 0 all the way to 24. And our focus is on African American youth, and in particular, really looking at mental health and trauma and bringing understanding to what it is, because unfortunately a lot of Black, brown people, we have been traumatized for years and have no idea what it is. When we don't even have a working definition of what it is, then it's hard to recognize what that looks like, and so we have a lot of people who need to go back into the community and talk to our kids as young as even, like I said, 0, because they don't have an understanding of the ways in which they are being hurt and then turning around and hurting someone else because of a lot of the stuff that we see happening and the failure of the adults. And I'm trying to use my words carefully, but that's what it is. It's the failure of the adults who are not going back and reaching back in and saying, I used to be 15. I used to be 14. I was 13. I understand your struggles. I get what you're going through. The times are changing, but stuff ain't changed that much. Everybody still needs someone to talk to. Everybody still needs somebody to listen to. Everybody still needs just something. It's amazing when you're working with kids and they're so used to hearing the negative stuff that when they hear anything positive, that they can't even receive it at first, but they want it. And they cling to it because it's hope that they're not getting. So I commend you, for even going back in just to see. And I heard what you're saying, how they've been doing Juneteenth here every year, but we don't know. And that's what it takes. We've been doing it every year, but they need to see someone who looks like you to say it's important because.
Yeah, and then another thing too, and I think that's why this Juneteenth is really being pushed now, because the youth center is kind of involved with it as well, to try to get kids to come out. So I think it's a good thing, man. I think it's a beautiful thing. Just even though it be a little more diverse because it's not predominantly us out here. So
That's still,
it's still a good thing, but it's still a good thing for other cultures to get a chance to, instead of always hearing the negative and seeing the madness on reality television, they can at least see our side of the story from a different perspective. You know, so, okay, that's the negative aspect of it, or the stuff that they want you to see.
That's right.
Why don't you look at some actual individuals in the past 70 to 100 to the past 100 years, what they have done. If you look at the image of our people, is just so distorted and so vilified and so negative that even the stereotypes are affecting other children of other ethnicities. Because they, and this is something I have noticed over the last couple of years, like a lot of people will sit back and they will look at a few of us and we'll have some kind of disdain based on what? Because how they're being taught.
That's right.
And so, and then what you just said about the problem is a lot of adults don't want to come back because those same adults, they were afflicted as kids as well.
Right.
And they don't know how to deal with their trauma.
That's right.
So the issue is that there's a systemic or there's some type of traditional, it's both systemic,
Yes, it is.
politically and all that stuff, and it's traditional within our own culture, just common people. Poverty is a disease. So it affects you physically and it also affects you mentally.
Yes.
And that's the thing, that's the downside, but that's the issue that nobody ever wants to talk about. And the one thing about these kids that you say, from what I'm hearing, from just what I've heard, I'll start volunteering soon, is that a lot of these people are coming from broken homes.
That's right.
Single parent homes. Homes, mothers who are barely making it, fathers no longer there. But this ain't just saying blacks, this is just Latinos, with poor whites, and various others.
That's right.
So this is something how you can get to those other ethnicities or those other people of different color to show, look, you're not so different from the blacks who are traditionally known to go through it. You know different, and you know better.
Right.
So now all of a sudden there's somebody who you can relate to based on this. I mean, besides this, but now all of a sudden you can see that poverty and everything else, or the conditions of being poor, that's a human. That's a human problem. You know what I'm saying? It's not just because, I mean, seriously, I used to walk amongst people and have these kind of conversations. And a couple years ago on my job, a dude said to me, "You a brother? You ain't never been in jail?" I'm in shock. Wow. Dude, he looked at me. He said, "You ain't never been." They see these tats. They see the tats, and they see the fitted cap, and they automatically assume I've been in prison. And then he's a good brother. He's a friend of mine, but he was in shock. He's like, "You a brother? You ain't never been in jail? You ain't got no kind of criminal record?" No. He was like, "Wow, you the first brother I ever met." I'm like, "Wow."
That's how people look at me when I was in jail. They said, "You up in the jail?"
No, I don't have a criminal record. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean I'm innocent. But the thing is that I just say the few times I was spared.
I know how to enforce the law.
You only brother I met never got caught.
So
you did something.
I'm very sure I have. But the thing is, but the thing is that it also, like a lot of other people will say, well, like it's a term. Well, since you're black, it must mean you're poor. It's already set. Like, okay, it's already there. It's an automatic gift.
Prejudices.
But the thing is, our society, they promote nothing but that.
Yeah.
They promote nothing but that. And so now all of a sudden, these are the images they're throwing up. So I try to tell people, don't look at the images they're promoting, because for some reason, you're allowing that to distort your image on all of us. That's not what it is. I mean, yeah, I would admit, there are some issues overall as a people that we're dealing with that we should do better overall. I'm not saying that we're just all by ourselves just being picked on. No, it takes two to tango.
Come on.
We need to do better as a people, but we're not crazy either.
Right.
No.
Not crazy. There is something going on. There's a spirit. There's a spirit that is set that has made it look like that we're crazy when we're not. So that's
I
my
want you to
thing.
say that part again. That's right there.
We're not crazy. There is a systemic, nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. We constantly get reminded. This is America. Let's not sit here and just make it seem like it's all peaches and cream living here. So, and that's the problem. They don't want you to think. They want you to think that, oh, it's them.
Yeah.
They're the problem. I will admit, half of it is. But that's only half the battle. It's coming from both. It's coming from another angle as well. And I think volunteering with these young kids, man, hopefully I can most definitely bring that to light. Instead of them forming up these different type of divisions amongst other people who are suffering in shambles, just like that.
I think so, because I think what we're seeing right now, even in this right here, I think what we're seeing is an emergence of something new that the Most High is doing, and we see this generation that's coming that is on fire for what's right. They want to know the truth. We want to be sure, and we want to make change. And they're starting younger and younger. So the more people that, as we get stronger, and as we're willing to go and share with just about anybody who we feel led to, because we know there's some people we're not supposed to be. But as we're getting stronger and we feel being led by the Ruach, we don't know who that person or what that person's assignment on their life is. And we just might be the one to activate that. So by us being faithful, I think there's so much work that is going to be done within the next generation, but it's going to ride upon our actions of us being faithful, us being consistent, us being unapologetically unafraid to be who we've been called to be, walking in it inside of a place of truth to where no matter what comes, that we understand what it is because they're watching.
Yeah.
And they're not doing things the way that they used to be done. We're seeing people coming out of churches. We're seeing people searching for answers and truth, but we're talking about people, they're not going to just come and ask questions. Some of them will, but a lot of them just going to be looking and seeing if it lines up. Well, why do you do that? Oh, it's the Sabbath. Well, you mean, we were talking about this last week, you going to have some wine? I mean, that's okay. I'm going to have to eat some wine, and okay, let's all turn to
and some zucchini.
As, and understanding that there's so many things that have been done to us to keep us bound, to keep us shackled, to keep us so that we're not making the changes and doing what you're saying. Because that's what it takes. It takes someone to say, I'm going to go back, but I can't go back empty-handed. And I've got to go back and make sure I'm strong, because the places where we're needed to go back into, I applaud everybody who does mission work around the world. Me personally, my mission field is in South Sacramento.
Come on.
That's my mission field. And when I'm in my mission field, the stuff that I see, you guys will be amazed at some of the stuff some of these babies are saying. When I say babies, I'm talking about 8, 9, 10. I mean,
South Sacramento.
From South Sacramento.
Okay, it flips my wig. The deeper in the South Sac you get, it's some of the stuff that it's like these little isolated little places that are in the midst of a city. And so we have to get strong so that we can go back, because I'll say this and I'll shut up. But one of my groups that I do, this is a question. Now this is just supposed to be fun. We come together, teach, right? Their question to me, because I usually wear my hair wrapped up or something, so they want to, what is that? What's the connection? So before I can even make a connection, it's your religion, it's your culture, it's this, it's that. So then immediately, as all these little people are saying that, one said, well, can you do me a favor? I said, what do you need? She said, well, I don't want to say it, so I'm going to ask her to ask you. So they do a telephone thing. She wanted me to ask God, why did he take her daddy from her? Then you have another little girl, this is my first name, but I'm not going to tell you my last name. Well, baby, tell me your name. No, because that's my dad's last name, and I never met him, I never seen him, and I'm ashamed. Or you got the little girl who I cuss, I fuss, I do this, and I twerk better than you, Miss Carrie. Now, not that was a conversation. It's not a conversation.
That's their attitude.
That's the attitude. And that's the mindset. And I'm watching these little girls who, I don't know where they get this stuff from, but I didn't know the human body could do move like that. But it's a little baby, so she's singing this from somebody. But if we, just like she asked me, can you ask God why did this? Because they have questions. They want to know. So the more that we do what we're doing, and we can go right into these war zones, which we live in. And that's how we change, and that's how we switch it up, because that system that's put in place to keep them exactly where they are, the diseases that, Brother B.A. just said, that's real. And then that stuff was just continuing until we say, you know what, here's the truth, I got the truth, I'm gonna walk as this light and be this light.
Yeah.
Man, I'm a witness just watching, just a little bit of time and some light. That will start to dispel the darkness
Right.
of some of these kids.
Right.
And that's what we have the power to do when we come together and we just being faithful, we honoring the Sabbath, you know, but it's so much more inside of that because when we take this break to do what we've been told to do, us just being the light that we are, when I show up, because I don't work on Fridays. Well, Miss Kira, how come you can't come over? I your day off. No, it's not.
She said, that's your day
That's a
off.
hard day right there.
Right.
Next week's nothing, that day.
Straight
Like
up.
you said, the kids, man, see when it comes, like you just said something about the little girl that asked you, why did God take your daddy away? See, these kids are being introduced, they're being told about this guy. They're not being properly taught.
Right.
God operates.
Right.
Because the way that the establishment or the leaders in this society, how they teach God is, he loves you and you just do whatever we say and he'll do all those things for you. See, that's the problem right there. No one wants to actually go in here and find out what the Most High has said. It's about having an individual relationship.
Yeah.
And these pastors and these bishops and these elders and all these different dudes with titles on the various religious denominations, they are not teaching people how to, well, I would say this, their members and everybody else, me too, because I used to be under it, is that we're reading the scriptures with somebody else's eyes.
Yeah, man.
That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones who call themselves keeping the law, you're reading it with somebody else's eyes. You're not being honest. You know what I'm saying? You're sitting up here and you're just reading. You're trying to dictate something. See, that's the problem. That's why I always say.
They say the real problem. There's been a lot of studies, right?
Yeah.
So there's no more big mamas. You know, there's no more. They don't know. They have no one to follow.
Exactly.
So you can read me this word, but there's no example
Exactly.
that is the truth. So I have nothing to. I don't believe it. All I have to do is look over here, and I have no one to follow. So I have no one to ask these questions of.
Yep.
And I'm not going to ask God because I'm not even sure
if he even
he's
exists.
even real. Because if he was real,
Right.
this wouldn't be happening.
Exactly.
So like I said, so the church is supposed to understand that I was saved to go back.
Yeah. And they're not going
saved for what reason? If I'm not saved to go back into the community or into even my own family,
That's a good point.
and bring them out, then I don't know what I'm saved for.
Exactly.
You know, the church. See, I'm saved so one day I can go to heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saved.
So you can go back and be a witness. Get other people saved. So all go to heaven. See, exactly. And that's what Christ. He fits perfectly because he knew who he was. He already understood what it was all about. Now, guess what? I got to go proclaim it and tell everybody else.
Hallelujah.
He made himself available. So this is why, because right now it is popular to reject Christ now. Not just on the internet, but just everywhere I go.
Yeah.
It is the most popular thing. Like, if you're not rejecting Christ, then you ain't in.
Right, there's no fear or reverence for
Exactly.
doubting God or cursing God. But see, we came up.
Yeah.
Nobody here.
Yeah. The stuff.
Like Benita betrayal.
The stuff I hear today. I know my grandmother was very strict. There was just certain things coming up there. I mean, my grandmother raised me. There were just certain things that I could not say pertaining to the scriptures unto this guy.
Right.
She just wasn't having it if I didn't.
My mother didn't even go to church.
Yeah, it was just certain things.
But she still had that word in her, where that discipline came out, that morality came out.
That's just how, that's just what it was just universally understood.
The moral, right.
Yeah, I don't go to church, but.
Yeah, but that's one thing you don't do. Exactly. Like, I'm on with guys, just an example, I'm on with guys who call Christ a liar. He's he's an idol. He's all this, he's all that. And then you start to see the attitude of people who you deal with locally, that same kind of attitude. Yep. And I'm just like, man, so the ones who are supposed to be bearing the image of God, the leaders, they have failed the people. That's the problem. They don't want to admit the fact that they failed the people. They want to say, well, that's not my problem. you must not be faithful. You must the God I'm blessing you. Something must be wrong with you. There's a doctrine out here that got people believing that if the Most High is not blessing you like He's blessing your pastor, there's something wrong with your faith.
Don't say that. You want to throw my phone.
And that's being
they made blessings to only be material.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's like everything is so based on convenience in the flesh. So now all of a sudden they're applying it, or they're trying to force it with this guy. Oh, you got to make sure your house is looking nice. You got to make sure you have this car. If you're not doing this, if you're not doing that, then guess what? He ain't working with you. Like, well, I'm blessed by the best. Seriously? Like, go to Matthew chapter 4 real quick, and I'll be done. Matthew chapter 4.
Somebody has some comments. I saw some comments.
What page is that on?
I'm just going to do that every Matthew chapter 4.
Matthew chapter 4.
He ain't that
1387. 1387, okay, 1387.
Shit, it got spoiled. You know. Hold on. Let me turn this around. Shalom, shalom to anyone. I know we do have the live chat popping. Sometimes I have the camera away from me, so I can't really see who's commenting with the question or whatnot. But Shabbat shalom to anybody who came in.
Yeah, Matthew chapter 4.
And we haven't officially gotten started with the parashah. However, as the Spirit leads and moves, we obedient to that. You know what I mean? Yeah, no. Hey, I'm just letting the people know, man. This is how the Spirit moved, and we moving with the Spirit. That's it. Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Matthew chapter 4.
Matthew chapter 4, I read verse 1. Then the Spirit led the Messiah up into the wilderness to be tempted by the adversary. After Yeshua had fasted 40 days and nights, he was hungry. The tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, stone to become bread." But he answered, the Tanakh says, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of the Most High." See, things of that nature. Today, this is what society is doing. Society is like, well, God must not be dealing with you if you're starving. If you're going through all this, that means He ain't you. That means, they want to make things physically appear. God is not dealing with you unless you're driving a brand new this. See, let's keep going. I'm going to go to, let's see, go to verse 5. Then the adversary took him to the holy city and set him at the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "jump." For the Tanakh says, "He will order his angels to be responsible for you. They will support you with their hands, so that you will not hurt your feet on the stones." Testing God, taking shots. This is what the adversary does, and it's that same spirit that we're dealing with.
Twisting scripture.
Twisting scripture.
Because
we hear it all the time, and we deal with it all the time. Verse 7. Yeshua replied to him, but it also says, "Do not put Adonai your God to a test." Right? Don't try him. Once more, the adversary took him up to the summit of a very high mountain, showed him all the things of the world and all their glory, and said to him, "All this I will give you if you will bow down and worship me." Now this is where it gets tricky.
Come on.
But this is where your Creflo Dollars and all the rest of these guys do. Give me some money. You can have all this. We'll pray for you. You can have all this. If you're not living like this, then something's wrong with you.
But what did Yeshua respond with it?
Oh yeah.
Yeshua respond.
"Away with you, Satan." Yeshua told him, for the Tanakh says, "Worship Adonai your God and serve him only." You can read in Matthew chapter 6, it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God."
Hallelujah.
See, people don't even know what the kingdom of God is.
Dang it.
They don't know, because they think it's supposed to be some heavenly, magically thing in the sky somewhere. No, the kingdom of heaven has already surfaced in the book of Daniel. It's that stone that hit the image. And it said if the stone going to fill the mountain. That means we're going through a process.
Yes.
In Matthew chapter 6 it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all those things that you need shall be gathered and added unto you." You just do the work of the kingdom, and he'll give you all those things you need.
Right.
But see, we're not being taught that. We're not being taught that. We're being taught, well, give me something and he'll give you something. That doesn't work.
That's like gambling, man. I don't know.
But is that exactly what happens, though? That exactly what happens? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like
That's what they practice. crapshoot.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then look, like when you're dealing with mainly poor people, when you put them in that type of circumstance, what you think they're gonna go with? That's too much of a risk. That's too much of a gamble.
Right.
You're making this way too difficult. You keep saying this God is all loving and all this and all that. You know what? I'm gonna rock the way I've been rocking.
I'm out.
if you keep getting told that all you got to do is put the 5 in and you're gonna get 5 racks from that, or 5,000, you know what seems easy.
Yeah, but what happens when it's not being when that 5 racks, you don't get that 5 racks back? For those
Right.
who get 5 racks is
$5,000.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you don't get that $5,000, what's a poor person gonna think?
Right.
Okay, you're just hustling me for my money.
No,
And that's exactly
no, hold
what it
on. The poor person, if I can interject, the poor person gonna think it's a process. So they're gonna keep doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. They're being told to wait on the Lord, be patient, and go through the process. So they have to know what type of process the Most High works in,
Right.
to understand
Right.
which process steps are supposed to be taken. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because if you keep putting 5 in, trying to get 5,000 over 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 years, some people do this to their death and not getting the $5,000 because they're not understanding the Most High's process.
Right.
You're right. They're not being the Most High's process.
Because-
But I'll just take that back.
That's
Yeah.
why Financial Peace University.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
First of all,
I don't have to get in them arguments.
First of
Because
all,
that'd be us saying we know what God would do. First, somebody put $5 in, we don't know what God will do. Because it's based on their faith. You know, so how will we know? You know, because God, somebody can put $5 in and get 100-fold right there. It's not for us to turn years and not receive what they thought they were going to receive. You know? So you know, why is that? You know, we don't know. You know, but I guarantee, you know, I believe the word revealed it to them. They just had to come to a level of faith to do what He really asked them to do. You know,
And I agree. I agree with that.
So like I said, we get in all kind of arguments and debate with people. But somebody asked a question based on what Kamai was talking about. So someone said, so why did God let her father die? She smiled. She where you at?
That's me messing with her. That's where she's at right now.
I'm saying somebody asked you a question, Kamai.
Yes.
They said why did God let the little girl's father die? You know, so it's like we don't know the father, and probably the little girl, you don't know your father's situation, probably.
That's right.
You know,
Right.
You don't know where he, you know, so we don't know if he was with the Lord. We don't know anything.
That's right.
You know, and
Yeah.
so, but what we do know is God didn't let him die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God does, you know, we know God doesn't do that, but we know unbelievers, you know, people on the street that's probably interpreted like God let the hurricane happen and killed all the people, you know, God did all these things.
Right.
You know, so sometimes the church doesn't defend God in that. You know,
Yeah,
God
exactly.
didn't let anyone. It's not His desire that anyone should die.
Exactly.
You know, and so there are other circumstances that you know.
Yeah,
The
it's,
church, you know, like I said, someone who has a relationship with God, you know, would have to sit with that person, you know, and actually counsel that person, and go through the word. It takes, you know, much prayer. You know, who knows how long that would take to bring someone to understand that God didn't kill your father.
yes, and the thing is, what you just said, answer to that kind of question, it requires that type of counseling. You just can't come out and just be like, well, the reason why God took your dad away is because
Well, the answers are there. I mean,
Yeah.
not the exact answers, but
Yeah.
just to take them
Because
to
that's what they want,
how
like,
the Most High operates.
Yeah,
What I'm
exactly.
saying is, you know, if we say the Father's in control of everything, then that means the Father's in control of everything.
Yeah, and-
Are we really understanding when we say the Father's in control of everything? Like when the young girl says, "Why does the Most High let something happen?" If we saying the Most High is in control,
and a lot,
she wants an answer. And sometimes the answer we give them is, you know, The Most High's thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And the Most High's ways are higher than our ways. Isaiah 50.
He's purposeful in everything that he does.
Yeah, it's a simple life of that choice. It's a simple life of that choice. What did you choose?
It's here.
I mean, choose life and live or choose death and die. So the thing is that this word sometimes it can be very harsh for a lot of people. It can be very harsh. And I'm not saying the young lady's father chose death. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's just that a lot of the situations that we end up in is because of our own fault. We know the difference between doing right and we know the difference between doing wrong. So we're gonna have to put ourselves in a situation where we understand and learn that whatever consequences come back on us is because God didn't do it. It was our own consequences. And people expect God to save them when they get in trouble. No, he's not a genie. No, he's not a genie. If you just do right, and if you apply yourself to his ways or to how he pretty much laid the foundation written in the scriptures, Most High will he have mercy on you when those times of trouble come up on you. But at the end of the day, we have to get to a point in life to where we own up to the mistakes and the choices we make.
Right.
Well, the scripture do say it's appointed for man to die once, and that means it's appointed for humankind to die once. When I say die, I mean that flesh perishes, but you do have a right back to the tree of life if you believe the process that the Most High has put down, or laid forth, So I can't say, okay, just do right, because a lot of people think, okay, my daddy did right, but what's the Most High's ultimate purpose? And sometimes the ultimate purpose is not given to us exactly, but the thing is to trust in the Most High's purpose, that he created you, he knows what's best. This process might not be comfortable with you to have your flesh perish, but there's an ultimate goal to give you everlasting life. People say, okay, why do my flesh got to perish in order for me to get everlasting life? So who am I to question that? If that's the Most High's process, and you say you have faith and belief in him, you have faith and belief in all that comes with him, the processes that he puts forth, the vessels that he uses to put something forth, the timing that he uses to put something forth. So that's the thing. When the Most High says this is me, this is how I operate, this is how I function, you either take it or leave it. And this creator, the way this creator functions might not be suitable for everybody. The thing is, you be honest with yourself, self-reflect, and see if the character of this spirit is meshing with your spirit. If it's not, then it may not be for you. The thing is, the way the Father operates, because we're in this flesh, our flesh do not like the way the Father operates, the Spirit operates. Don't look at. So that's why you're always asking for the Holy Spirit to actually come in. You're asking for your flesh, your desires to be crucified or to be shed. You shed that blood of your fleshly desires in order for that spirit to come in and take over and give you that absolute understanding of peace, that this process of my flesh being shed is going to come to an ultimate goal that's way more suitable in the end goal. I just wanted to put that out there.
Like I said, some hard truths are, and we don't want to talk about it, but some people were born as a sacrifice. We don't want to talk about it. Yeshua was born to die.
Wow.
He was a sacrifice.
Wow.
He didn't come here to live forever.
Come on.
He came here to die.
Right.
And so many people were born simply to die as a sacrifice. So we're looking for this grand explanation. Like, what did you do wrong? Like, who did sin? Why were you born blind? Why? It's like for the glory of the Lord. But nobody want to hear that.
Because the image.
Everybody want to look for the sin. I want to look for something wrong. I want to look for something to ease my pain. But some people were put on earth, and all through the Bible we see characters that died.
Yeah.
Not everybody was born
And so out of their death, mothers died and giving birth to children, and then that child was then blessed as a result of that. Their life, So some simple answers is maybe that person was a sucker.
Yeah. You see, that's the thing. Harsh sayings. There was times where Christ had said something to the disciples. There was an incident, I think it's in somewhere in Matthew, where he had 70 with him. Yeah. Or not the 70, it was the disciples and a few others. Okay. He said, so he was just drilling them. Not with intent, but he was just giving them the truth. Mm-hmm. And some of them couldn't take it, they left.
And Paul, like I said, Paul knew he was going to die.
Yeah.
He said, everything I'm doing is for the furtherance of the kingdom.
Exactly. And Paul was dealing with a whole lot.
So it was revealed, like I said, sometimes it may be revealed to you, and it's not something you can talk about.
Yeah.
But some people know. I hear people say, man, I'm not gonna be here very long. Yes. I ain't gonna be around much longer. So you better be good then, because I'm gonna be gone pretty soon. They know.
And they're okay with it. They're at ease with that. And I think that when you buy into this big giant delusion, this fairy tale, it's kind of like what I was saying before. I don't know about any of you guys, but my particular church, one of the messages was the prosperity message. That was like the foundational truth of my church, was prosperity. And it was almost everything that you were saying. If you didn't drive this kind of car, you didn't live in this kind of house, if you weren't able to even give a certain amount, then you must have a demon. You must have some open doors inside your life somewhere. There's some open doors, some demons is coming in, because if you are really blessed, the way you're supposed to be blessed, you wouldn't be struggling like this. And so there's this whole message, and why what you're saying is like we know that, but it hits and it's so real and so true, because we know we worship Yeshua. We go to church because of Jesus, right? We know that Jesus lived and he died, and he died for us, but for whatever reason, we just don't, and I say we as a people, when you buy into that religious system, you lose the sense of reality that says that I may not be Joseph. Like, even though you're telling me everybody has a story of Joseph, everybody gonna go have a pit to the palace story. And if you don't have a pit to the palace story, then you need to go back and recheck because you're doing something wrong. But that's the message that so many people get. Or if you're a woman, you mean you don't got an Esther story? You mean you're not doing it this way? Something must be wrong with you too. There's always something that's wrong with you if you're not doing it the way that the people that up here on this platform, that they say, how you say, it's from them picking and parsing out the word. And so now here people are, and you're left hopeless, you're left dejected, you're left still feeling depressed. Everything that you came into this place for, everything that you thought your relationship with Jesus was supposed to fix and heal, it does it temporarily, because it's never really addressing what's really going on. The real what's going on is this word.
Right.
You ain't really giving me the word, so
right.
I don't have no food. I don't have nothing to eat, because I'm hooked on a fantasy and a fairy tale, like what you guys were just saying. I'm sorry, that really, it frustrates me, because not only me personally been a victim of the whole fantasy, but so many people I know who still are caught up inside of it, and they're still, I know people who can't even pay, who won't, not that they can't, but won't pay their rent unless their tithes are paid, who won't pay their rent unless they give into the first fruit.
Say that again.
They won't
That's
pay
what
their
I'm
bills
see.
Unless, they will allow SMUD to give them a disconnect notice. So now your kids ain't got no life, you don't got no
exactly.
Food.
That's what I was talking about with that fine. Yeah, like
the pastor, he's still driving his brand new, whether it's a Bentley, they ain't even driving Benzes. They trying to go for this superstar celebrity status. Meanwhile, something's wrong with you because you're still in poverty, living around the corner from the church.
There's an individual, he shared with me one story. He said going to a particular spot, and they're Sabbath keepers, and they was going around intimidating, bullying some of their members about working the Sabbath. So one member wants to, being told, well, you violating the Sabbath and doing all this, and this guy, loves being at his church or his congregation, wants to do right, thinks that, well, if I find some kind of solution to quit my job or get another job or whatever it may be. So this guy quit his job because they would not give him the Sabbath off. So he went back to the elders, to the people who were intimidating him to do it. You know what they told him? Brother, that was your choice. I didn't make you quit your job, but you want to bully, so you want to be a spiritual terrorist, you want to be a spiritual bully and make people feel bad because they got to work on the Sabbath.
Then Yeshua talk about that. It was like, who asked for something to eat, and then you turn around and give him a snake? What he said something like when Yeshua said, I'm forgetting the verse, but said who asked his brother for something to eat, and you just pray for him like, oh, and be fed, you know.
Yeah.
What is that Matthew 11? It's somewhere in Matthew, but I can't remember. But
if you have it in your hand, give it to him, then don't send him off without it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what you're saying is, if you're going to tell somebody to cut off their means of taking care of their family, then you would be tasked with compensating that means of taking care of their family. If you're telling them to cut off that supply, if you're telling them to cut off that supply, you're saying you have a supply for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you don't have no supply for them, how you going to tell them cut that?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the brother,
Right.
who told me this story, that was one of the things that made him not want to be a believer no more.
Wow.
See that kind of stuff right there.
And that's what I was talking about, the Most High's process. There's man's process, and then there's the Most High's process. Sometimes man's process does sound like the Most High's process, but you got to go search for the Most High's process yourself. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that it's a personal experience.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
You
right.
have to start living what this Bible says.
Come on, Brother
for
Leon.
yourself.
Yeah.
Come
that's-
on,
that's
brother.
I mean, don't care what these big ministers on what's name, they started down there. Now they're there, but you're not there, so you can't be. Your faith ain't there. You don't give that. I found that out.
Dang, that's a
don't,
good
don't,
point.
You don't give me that. You do what you have to do
For
to
yourself.
take care of your family first.
Yes, sir.
Like if you're gonna be grassroots, you know, I keep my mouth off of that ministry. But anyhow, you grassroots, like you say, you start right to grassroots. You serve the Lord, because we all could be served. You serve where you at, and your faith, I keep growing, and then you be getting more money. Hopefully, that you don't get in the same shape that people you're talking about.
Right.
You
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to talk to people, you have to talk to the group, and you have to be living it. You have to be in the spirit. You can't have the flesh and the spirit at the same time.
We.
Can't church, yeah.
You can't have flesh and spirit at the same time.
We. Hallelujah.
And the ones that down there, like you said, where is to serve them, to start up early, what you supply you with, to give it to them.
Yes.
Teach them a little at a time.
Mm.
Yes.
And that child, you have to talk to her every once in a while.
Mm.
You know,
Yes.
to give her understanding, but you have to be living it first.
Mm.
Yeah.
It brings to mind the scripture that talks
You always got to live. You put live in the spirit. So what the society done, I'm not going to say people who've done it to us, but everything spiritual is in part evil. A lot of the things that out there that are spiritual, people shy away from because nobody wants to be spiritual, but the Father requires the spirit people.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That's so true.
So faith and all that stuff, you have to speak. He's not there, but you have to really believe for him to work on your behalf,
Yes, sir.
on your behalf. Forget about anybody else. Forget about what the other minister said. You have to believe it first, and you have to live it.
Mm.
You know, and family always comes first. You do not give if you can't afford it. I mean, to that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I agree on that. I agree.
That's real nice.
You don't,
right
you
there.
don't give.
Don't break yourself, hurt somebody to help somebody else. I am in favor of that. Yeah, if you can help somebody, Yeah, no problem. But if I'm barely making it, and I'm having a hard time from getting A to B to C, what good am I going? What good am I doing? Cut myself off just to make sure you have something. Because I've dealt with people like that before.
Yeah,
Who will put a guilt trip on me because you don't like me because you don't help. No, wait, I'm struggling. Hold on, wait a minute.
People cut me out all the time.
Yeah, hold on. My electricity better get cut off. And you want me to help you pay a bill for a renter center TV for a television?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
He ain't.
Hey, we ain't talking about other people. We ain't pointing no finger like that.
No, he said hypothetical. I mean, these is real stories.
When it comes to giving, tithing, and family and all that, we have to be led by the Spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily trying to talk about that.
You know, like I said, if you are struggling or whatever, if something comes your way and the Spirit says give, the reason this came your way because I was giving you some seeds or something.
Right there.
I mean, we listen to the Spirit, so we can't sit here and bounce stories off the wall about what other people do. We don't know what they hear.
Yeah.
They may have done what the Spirit said they were supposed to do. And we just, you know, like I said, how we judge that. Somebody might have told me some crazy story, you know, it might have been the Holy Spirit trying to say to people because I was judging the person saying it. Yeah. I didn't want to hear it from you. You know, and now here I am, you know, in the wrong place and ran off the road or something. So
Because you never know when it's a testament or a test to your own walk.
yeah.
Because where you are at in your own growth, there are people that come to you, whether it's by the devil or by God, saying and doing things that don't make sense to you, but it makes sense to them. So when like you said, when you have people come to you and they say that they're asking for your help in something, it's not for you to say whatever it is that they need help in, but it's for you to realize where you are, and if it's the Father speaking to you to help that person, then you help them, because He's looking at you for your obedience.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead.
What's the difference between help and enabling?
Between who?
Help and enabling.
That's what he would have to work out. And that is for him to work out. And I think the whole conversation is what this is why it's hard out there. I mean, I think this is great. We are in a safe place where we can talk about this, we can hash this out, we can change opinions and leave here with food for thought from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we generally do, I know I am a person that doesn't waste many words. If there's something to say, I say it. And it's been that way since I've been very small.
Mm.
But most, even very learned people, there is instruction here, there's help here, there's everything here. And I think we take it upon ourselves, well-meaning, to think I need to add a story or my opinion to it to make you understand. Because God couldn't possibly do that for you. You're only 7. Or if I just gave you the word and made sure, I mean, and we could be talking about a recipe, so I could try to tell you the recipe, but we're friends and you like to laugh and you like to get a reaction. So if I add a story to this, it's more fun. And I think we have a habit, not a great habit, of the reality we give has to have a story, even worse, our opinion on it. And I think whether we're talking with someone very young or whether we're thinking we're teaching, I think we have it's a worldwide habit. Storytelling is a big thing. It just is. So whether it be an evangelist on television, whether it be someone in our own community, when we're talking about, and I'm not saying that storytelling is bad, that's how from generation to generation we keep history alive. But I think where we have a problem is we have we have the truth here, and we are constantly adding our own opinion to it. And we do it, I do it, I think we do it just about every time we speak this word. I think we have to be more careful. Number one, we have a responsibility, and I think I'm with a great group of people who do this. We have a responsibility to study this like we're studying a manual for anything that we really want. We could study that manual. If someone just gave you whatever whatever the top part, you want that thing
You want to know
run.
everything about it.
Exactly. You're going to exactly.
Yeah.
So because we're getting ready to give your neighbor one also, so you're not going to give her one and you have to read the manual and tell her, well, just go for it. Well, I do this and it works fine. The manual may not say that, but do this, and your experience with your car would be exactly like my experience. So those are times that all I'm saying is there are times that when we haven't done our homework, a hug and some quiet is about all that we need to do, because we have not done what we're supposed to do. I can make up a good story to make it, I can tell you why your father is dead. Or I can tell you, and it's not a story, I'm going to tell you right here, you're only 7 years old, but you're going to have to take it from here. You're going to have to break her heart and make her understand, or give me more factual information that I can lead her to. Or I may have to tell her a story on my own experience that has nothing to do with it. I think we add too much to this, and we do it constantly, and we do it out of what we think is love, but I just think it's so watered down that it's just unbelievable.
I agree.
It's just unbelievable, because it happens to me, and I've gone to church all my life and have gone through so many changes. There hasn't been anything I've been able to stick to until now. It all sounded really good, and it makes you feel really good, but when you, from that age to this age, you just realize I've heard hundreds of different versions of the truth. And whoever leadership or fellowship I was with or under, it came with their opinion of how this, because this hasn't changed. But it came with a lot of different opinions of how this was supposed to be interpreted. But the thing is, what's fantastic is when you are in the Word yourself, I know you can say whatever you want. And I don't have to be rude and interrupt or storm out or anything. I've just probably wasted a little bit of my time, or I can be an ass, which I am sometimes, and cause conflict. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're in it, you know, when God is actually speaking to you, I can be polite. Half of what I go through in my life, I can sit and listen, watch the TV, not pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe exactly what you're saying, but I don't have to get in an argument every time. But then there are times that you're prompted to, that is absolutely not right. Open your mouth. You know, I'm quiet. I don't want to open your mouth. Because once I do that, it's not pretty, so I try not to do it. And I hope never ever see it. But yeah, I just think we add, you know, we're told not to add to or take away, and I think we do it. And I say we, including me, we do it quite a bit. And so, of course, the world is going to be confused if we're going out there confused.
That's right.
Exactly.
So,
like it shouldn't take, like back to the story about the working on the day, on the seventh day, or whatever you want to call it, the Sabbath. It shouldn't take me to go in here and to tell a person, thus saith the Lord, yada, 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 yada. In other words, if you're in the situations where you're working a job, and that's the only way you're able to provide for your household, you're going to allow someone the manipulation to quit your job and not take care of your family? Yes, you tell people, try to find ways to get out of working on Saturday. But right now, I would never tell nobody, in the middle of taking care of children, raising the household, quit a job, and unfortunately, yeah, we hope that people don't have to work on the Sabbath, yeah. But who am I to tell somebody to quit their job?
You can't tell nobody to do nothing.
Exactly.
I mean,
Like I
it's
said,
like-
but we already know that there are people out there that would do that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we can do about that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but my point is that when it comes to things like that, it don't take book knowledge.
No.
Common sense will tell you,
Right.
okay, you know what? The Most High, He knows my situation. I'm gonna pray to find something else, but until then, I gotta take care of my family.
People don't have conversations.
Exactly, but no, there are people who will sit here and say, "You got a scripture for that?" Whoa! You need a book. You need some book. You need some kind of book knowledge to tell you to take care of your kids.
But there is a scripture for that. That is the subject I didn't know we would be talking about. And it may not say those words.
Yeah.
But, so that's not an argument then. It's here, it is here somewhere.
Oh yeah. I know that,
Yeah.
but somebody needs it verbatim, like yada yada.
Yeah, but the understanding is that's what they're saying, but that's not what they mean when they say that.
Yeah.
So we have to respond out of our gift. So if we don't know our own gift, I don't know how to respond to you. So now I'm gonna argue with you about because you want to, So what they really did outside the book, they're asking of you. You give me something.
Yeah.
And if you ain't have nothing to give, if you have nothing to offer in a situation like that, then that's what they wanted to know. If they, give me a scripture, show me here. So that's just a test for you.
Yeah, it is, because people love caring themselves for the most part. And I think my personal opinion, and I could be wrong, but I believe that usually when you have people who are argumentative like that, well, what's the scripture for that? We're talking about some whole love in action. Because that's a person that some people are just confrontational, they just want to fight. And they typically have not picked up the Bible themselves. They typically are, if they do pick it up, this is an excellent book weight. It's an excellent, if I'm trying to make sure that nothing runs off the counter. I'm trying to make sure that this thing don't fall down. Oh, my paper is wrinkled. I need to flatten it out. It's a heavy book. This will make sure that your paper is ironed out. But yet that's the same person who's ready to let you know that their favorite book is probably, let's say the Book of Mark. Why is the Book of Mark your favorite book? They don't even know why the Book of Mark is their favorite book. It just happens to be that whenever they show up in church, there's always a message that they liked that really gave them an emotional pull.
Yeah.
Nothing, within their head. It's always an emotional thing that they have going on, which goes back to, well, what verse is that? Because they own an emotion, you messing with their emotions.
And that's what Paul was talking about when he said, what is the hope of glory I see in you? Because that's what they see.
Yeah.
And so now, Paul said, be prepared to give an answer. Because they're going to come and ask you.
But is there ever a time where it's okay? I want to know the scripture for that, because if I'm doing something that I have not come across that is totally contradictory to what I should be doing, I get scripture for that. So, and set me straight. And it may sound like a confrontation. You need to take the tone out of what I'm saying, and if you love me, give me scripture for that. Even if it's, I remember it from back in my childhood. I will do some research and call you back. Go in love, go to work, go whatever. I want to help you walk the straight and narrow as much as you want to walk the straight and narrow. So rather me saying you're just, confrontational and forget you, give me scripture for that. If I'm honestly asking, if I'm not trying to be, if we've gone back and forth 1,000 times and that's always my answer because I need to be right, and if you don't know, well then you shouldn't have brought it up. I think we need to be, and I might need to get on the phone and call you guys, where is the scripture for that? Because you're better at that than I am. But there's someone who's asked legitimately, and how am I to tell them, no, even if you've never picked it up, if that's going to start there, I can't miss that opportunity to help you there. And it does say that. And I did read it before, but I didn't have that understanding. So now I can keep doing it even though I see it right there. And now you've done your part. It's up to God to work with me on that. And I'm going to either keep being, you know, a brat about it and pretend that it says something else, or you help me find something that is going to help me be a little more obedient than I was before, because I didn't have that knowledge. You know, I don't know, it's all, it's all,
it's very true.
No, I'm just saying, the whole thing, the point we brought up in the first place is we do need to be out there touching and, you know, being disciples, and it's hard. It's going to be it's not as pretty as it sounds. Going out there and love, most of it is going to be met with confrontation.
Yes.
Oh, most definitely. It's not going to be easy.
I was
It's
going to say, that's what I was thinking.
not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy walking the park.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The thing is that I just get to a point to where I always tell people, at the end of the day, we're dealing with a God of love and justice. He's not this big, horrible tyrant that people make him out to. So it always goes back to personal relationships for yourself.
Yep.
That's what it goes back to. And what bothers me is I hear a different message being taught when it comes to this guy. And I'm like, that's not the God that I'm starting to understand who he is. That's not the God that has been revealed to me. So look, you got to get to know him for yourself. Don't allow somebody else's personal interpretation or somebody else's wrongdoing affect him. And that's what we do in this society. We allow the bad representatives to affect the whole thing. And so my thing is that I always tell people, look, you gotta seek them out for yourself. You have to look them up for yourself. You cannot allow so-and-so and so-and-so to do it for you. It's not gonna work that way. Because at the end of the day, I'm talking to believers. I'm not talking to unbelievers. I'm talking to believers. But that's why we down deal with from time to time. Other believers who always want to swing the sword and fight all the time. I'm like, there's some things in here you're not going to get verbatim. And that's what the elder always talks about, the Spirit. There's some things the Spirit going to reveal to you that you shouldn't even have to go in here and find. So that's my point. It's more so like, look, are you a human being or are you a religious zombie? That's what I point to people all the time. What is it like? Do you have to necessarily, as a believer, have to go in a book, go in a text? Now, I'm not against reading text, I read all the time. Do you have to necessarily go in here and find out if there's something in here that tells you not to take care of your family?
Well, like I said, it still comes down to, that sounds like a perfect answer. They don't know how.
Yeah.
What they want to hear you say is, are you willing to sit with me? Because that's not what people are offering.
Yeah.
You need to go get this, and you need to read this for yourself. I don't know how to do that for myself. I need, you know, so now, and Jesus being quiet, because we were talking about this when he first walked in. I've been sitting with these brothers, sharing this little by little, willing to take time out to sit with them. Not tell them, here's a couple of scriptures, go home and read it. And they're not going to understand what they're reading.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So my thing
I can show a brother scripture where it says, you know, leave an inheritance for your children and your children's children. Well, that don't tell me how to leave an inheritance. That just makes me feel more guilty for not leaving an inheritance. I don't know how to go do it.
I talked about expounding on the word, and I think that's perfect. We're called to have brotherly relationships with each other, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to separate. That's a good point, because he is able to, and we're all able to, because we've all had different walks. There's a time when you're going to need my friendship and my personal story. I need to make sure that I am separating my story, because there's great teaching and comfort in us sharing our story and what he did for me and how I maneuvered this, but I need to be careful when I'm now giving instruction my experience, how I'm doing things, and actual instruction.
Do the person.
Because it's not the same.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I think we were saying the same things, and I didn't mean to say that anyone was doing anything wrong. I just don't know this needs to stand without my interpretation when it's time for me to give someone factual information without my twist. You know what I'm saying? But then there was times that I need to show you love
need to give that
I've
twist.
been. Yes, I'm telling you my story. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And I understand that too. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's just certain things. Like, if I'm giving you my own personal story, I'm going to sit here and set this off to the side. I'm just going to talk to brother to brother, brother to sister. You know what I'm saying? There's just certain things. When we're just doing that, brother and sister just talk, there's just certain things we should not have to go to in the scriptures just to talk. You know what I'm saying? And that's my point. Because there are people who like to fight. Well, I need to see a scripture about it. Well, wait, we just brothers and sisters talking here. Stop trying to be a
Sharing life.
Yeah, sharing life. Like, hold on, stop. Think logically for a minute. And that's why I always say to a lot of so-called believers, think logically. Don't think like a monster. Think like a human being here.
There was some, like Brother Leon said, some people, that goes along with common sense. Some people don't
common
have
sense.
that. Some people don't have that logistics in their thought process. So it is difficult for them to get the understanding of just separation and dealing wholly in scripture and then dealing in life. When to separate and when to bring together. Because they can't see and understand that even when you're just talking life, that you're still having the basis of scripture, because the word is the
foundation. Exactly.
But like you said, there is no, not all the time that word for word, because it comes behind the spirit of the Most High giving direction, and so they have trouble separating it to get that understanding, and it's a thought process and how people think. And for me, I'm different from most people in that, and I can't do it with everybody, but I can sometimes recognize, because I had a minister tell me once that I can separate, or I can translate between older and younger, because the two functions and the two understandings are different. But I can go to an older person who has a different language and understand exactly what they're saying, and then translate that to a younger person who talks an entirely different way and thinks an entirely different way. And that is part of my gift, that I'm still understanding myself and still developing and expounding upon it. But it gives me sometimes, because I'll look at people and be like, okay, I just said something to you. It made perfect sense to me. It was logical to me, but you still got this deer in headlights look. Like, okay, so let's try this a different way. Let me see and put this word out and see if it makes sense to you this way. Okay, so if it didn't make sense and I'm giving it to you 3 ways, then I have to step back and ask and look at it. And I ask the Father to help me talk to this person. Because sometimes what I'm saying and what makes sense to me is not how the Father wants me to give it to him.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, we have to hear the instructions from us. We're focusing on them. But Paul talks about there's all kind of ground that we sow seed on. So he says sow on good ground. So, and then he tells us specifically those kind of people, he's because they're going to challenge his testimony. Right? They don't mean us no good. So Paul says leave them alone. Why are you going to try to make them understand something they don't want to understand? So now the whole thing is now to frustrate you. Why are you still talking to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're not going to sow anything on this ground with them. Why are you still hanging out with them Paul said, reasoning one another. Why are you still doing it?
Exactly.
What did you not hear when I gave you my instruction? Leave them alone.
Exactly.
Don't let them get you angry. Don't respond. He said respond. You know, we exchange evil for good.
That's right.
Why are you letting them? Why are you arguing with them? There ain't nothing good coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Tell him, be using my phone. I can't respond to him there.
Don't talk to a fool. Don't argue with a fool, talk to a fool, because when you do, make him think he's wise.
That's right.
I know that
So
scripture.
if you don't, you just leave him alone, let him go.
Yep.
That's like, it kind of goes back to what Brother B.A. was saying too. Like when we started talking about, it's like, I'm just having a conversation, sister to sister, brother to brother. I don't need to pull out Torah, just to live Torah, just to do Torah. I mean, that's like one of those things like, arguing with you, me and you, we arguing, we going back and forth. You're watching us argue. Who looks crazy? We both look crazy.
That's the point.
We arguing, going back and forth. Some of the onlookers looking, who started it?
That's the
It don't
point.
matter. We both. Yeah.
It's both of you. But that's in Torah. Torah tells us, you know,
That's
that
the blind leading the blind.
the blind lead the blind. My character should be enough. I should have enough Torah in me to know that blah, blah, blah don't make sense.
Yeah, like
Excuse
this.
me, let me just go.
Yeah.
As soon as I feel my blood pressure rising, I'm done.
I'm done. If my blood pressure starts rising, if my chest gets tight, we know the body symptoms. If I start feeling all of that confusion, it's like a check engine light.
That's
check
right.
engine light goes
Check
off.
your
I
life.
guarantee you, if I'm going back and forth with someone, I'm not hearing the spirit.
Yeah, that is exactly right.
So now I'm the one in trouble.
Right, so that's
I'm
why
the
we
one
gotta
looking
check
like a fool.
ourselves.
You know, I'm the one who's upsetting the spirit. Not them.
Yes.
They're not in the spirit either.
No, they don't. It's half the time they
So
don't
like I
know the
said, so
spirit.
now we talking about like spirit. So
Right.
you know, if we just doing this,
Yeah,
I need to get up out of here. You know,
and I need to get out fast.
because I have nothing. Because like I said, my whole intention was to sow good seed
Yeah.
on good ground. Where you're not good ground. So
Wow.
I'm not gonna waste my time, and I'm not gonna waste yours. I'm not gonna let you waste mine.
Hallelujah. That's
You know,
Right.
that's
That
family
part.
right
I'm
there.
gonna keep my peace, get back in my car, turn my radio back on, and go on where I was
I
going anyway.
can't, because that's how I guard my heart. You know, saying a lot of times, where's the practicality? Is what we're saying. But that's how I guard my heart, right there. That I'm in charge to guard my heart. You know, and I think a lot of times when we talk about guarding our heart, I think some people think that it's, I don't know what they think, I honestly don't. But that's that's me guarding my heart, because if I want to ensure that the Spirit is with me, then it's I don't know what the fools know. I don't care what the fools know and don't know.
So like I said, you know, so if I'm talking to my children, if I'm talking to my wife, and we have a relationship, so we have to settle something.
Right,
Yeah, that's a different thing than some stranger walking out of the store on the street.
right,
I'm not gonna, you know, like Paul said, we share one another's burdens.
yeah.
And you have to make that decision. I ain't trying to share your burden. You know, and so now when I come to my wife and children and you know, my neighbor, my friends, people I'm close with, you know, then I'm all in. But I can't let everybody coming down the street involve me, burden me with their burdens, you know. So I try to give you something, and you reject it.
Right.
Well, I'm the fool now if I don't recognize that I've been rejected. Because,
Right.
You know, because the word teaches that rejection is still direction. So if I'm being rejected, I'm just going in the wrong direction. I need to turn around and go the other way quickly.
That's how they speak.
It's called shake the dust off your feet, brother
Shake that dust off
Leon.
real
Thank
quick.
So even Yeshua said he's rejected. So when you rejected, he said you're rejected for my sake.
That's right,
So so walk away.
that's right.
Like so, like I said, the Bible doesn't give us any excuses to argue. You know, we can't find no scripture here. I was trying to help it. You know, the Bible says walk away. That's our instruction. So if we're arguing with somebody, they're not following the instruction because we're looking for an excuse to put up a good argument, and ain't none.
Are we ready?
talking about.
Yep.
the king of beauty.
All right, we're gonna officially get started. BA, you wanna here? You know, I'm just put it on you real quick.
Shake it off and keep it moving.
We're gonna record one.
We still recording. We've been recording for an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, you've been on Facebook Live on something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, welcome.
You must
Oh,
have.
thank you. Yeah, so,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, we're going to get to the parashah, right? What page?
Can I, what happened with everything?
Parashah.
So just to interject for just quite a moment, I have to just give thanks to the Most High because we didn't start the lesson on the parashah, but it was good. So I'm just short prayer. We thank the Father for what He's already done, for laying out the lesson and the understanding, the guidance and the direction that He's given us at this point. And as we get into this parashah, that we get more food that we've already gotten, that we become full, overflowing in abundance of what He delivers to us. We ask that He touch all those that are in this room, all those that are listening online, and all of those that are not in the greatest of health right now. Brother Al, if you're listening, bless you, because we know you don't feel good. We're thinking about you. And we just ask, Father, that you continue to guide us as we seek your truth and understanding. In all thy ways, we acknowledge you for everything that you do. In your Son, Yeshua's name, hallelujah. Bless your name, Father. Amen.
I'll say the Shema and then go ahead. Yeah. Cool?
Go ahead, you know, say the Shema.
All right. Deuteronomy 6, starting at verse 4. Shema Yisrael. Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ehad. Ve'ahavta et Yahweh Elohecha b'kol lebabecha u'b'kol nafshecha u'b'kol meodecha. Ve'hayu hadabarim ha'ele asher anochi mesawecha hayom al lebabecha. And that is, hear and obey Israel. Yahweh our Elohim. Yahweh is one. You are to love Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your being and with all your strength. And these words that I command you today to be on your heart. Hallelujah.
All right, we're going to get into the parashah. We're going to start in Genesis 37. I'm going to pick it up in verse 1. I'll start it off. Get the rotation going. Yaakov, that's Jacob, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jacob continued living in the land where his father had lived as a foreigner, the land of Canaan. Here is the history of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, he used to pasture the flock with his brothers, even though he was still a boy. Once when he was with pasture, Once he was with the sons of Belial, and the sons of Zelphah, father's wives, he brought a bad report about them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph, the most of all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a long sleeve robe. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they began to hate him and reached to a point to where they couldn't even talk with him in a civil manner. Joseph had a dream which he told his brothers that made them hate him all the more. He said to them, "Listen while I tell you about this dream of mine. We were tying up bundles of wheat in the field when suddenly my bundle got up by itself and stood upright. Then your bundles came, gathered around mine, and prostrated themselves before it." His brothers retorted, "Yes, you will certainly be our king. You'll do a great job of bossing us around." They hated him still more for his dreams and for what he said. He had another dream which he told his brothers. I had another dream. And there were the sun and moon and 11 stars prostrating themselves before me. He told his father too, as well as his brothers, but his father rebuked him. what is this dream you have had? Do you really expect me, your mother, and your brothers to come and prostrate ourselves before you on the ground?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in his mind.
That's how you know the word is good, because Billy got that iris over there.
After this, when his brothers had gone to pasture the father's sheep in Shechem, Israel asked Joseph, "Aren't your brothers pasturing the sheep in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." He answered, "Here I am." He said to him, "Go now, see whether things are going well with your brothers and with the sheep, and bring back word to me." So he sent him away from the Hebron Valley and went to Shechem, where a man found him wandering around in the countryside. The man asked him, "What are you looking for?" "I'm looking for my brothers," he answered. "Tell me, please, where are they pasturing the sheep?" The man said, "They've left here because look, the is coming. So come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these water cisterns here. Then we'll say some wild animal devoured him. We'll see then what becomes of his dreams." But when some wild animals devoured him, excuse me. But when Reuben heard this, he saved him from being destroyed by them. He said, "You shouldn't take his life. Don't shed blood," Reuben added. "Throw him into the cistern here in the wilds, but don't lay hands on him yourselves." He intended to rescue him from them later and restore him to his father.
So it was that when Joseph arrived to be with his brothers, they stripped off his robe, the long-sleeved robe he was wearing, and took him and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty without any water in it. Then they sat down to eat their meal. But as they looked up, they saw in front of them a caravan of Yishmaelim coming from Gilead, their camels loaded with aromatic gum, healing resin, and opium, on their way down to Egypt. Yehuda said to his brothers, "What advantage is it to us if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelim instead of putting him to death with our own hands. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh." His brothers paid attention to him. So when the Midianim merchants passed by, they drew and lifted Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for half a pound of silver shekels to the Ishmaelim, who took Joseph on to Egypt. Reuben returned to the cistern, and upon seeing that Joseph wasn't in it, tore his clothes in mourning. He returned to his brothers and said, "The boy isn't there. Where can I go now?" They took Joseph's robe, killed a male goat, and dipped the robe in the blood. Then they sent the long-sleeved robe and brought it to their father, saying, "We found this. Do you know if it's your son's robe or not?" He recognized it and cried, "It's my son's robe. Some wild animal has torn Joseph in pieces and eaten him." Yaakov tore his clothes and, putting sackcloth around his waist, mourned his son for many days. Though all of his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, he refused all consolation, saying, "No, I will go down to the grave to my son, mourning." And his father wept for him. In Egypt, the Midianim sold Joseph to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard.
It was at this time that Yehuda went off from his brothers and settled near a man named Hilah, who was in Adulamite, where Yehuda saw one of the daughters of a certain Canaanite whose name was Sheba. And he took her and slept with her. She conceived and had a son whose name was She conceived again and had a son, and she called him Onan. Then she conceived yet again and had a son whom she called Shelah. He was in Kazib when she gave birth to him. Yehuda took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Yehudah's firstborn, was evil from Adonai's perspective, so Adonai killed him. Yehuda said to Onan, "Go and sleep with your brother's wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her, and preserve your brother's line of descent." However, Onan knew that the child would not count as his, so whenever he had intercourse with his brother's wife, he spilled the semen on the ground so as not to give his brother offspring. What he did was evil from Adonai's perspective, so he killed him too. Then Yehuda said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, stay a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up, for he thought, I don't want him to die too like his brothers. So Tamar went and lived at home with her father. In due time, Shelah's daughter, the wife of Yehuda, died after Yehuda had become fortified, had been comforted. He went up to be with his sheep shearer in Timnah. He and his friend Terah, the Adullamite, Tamar was told, your father-in-law has gone to Timnah to shear his sheep. So she took off her widow's clothes, completely covered her face with her veil, and sat at the entrance of Inyan, which is on the way to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown up, but she still was not being given to him as his wife. And when he saw her, he thought she was a prostitute because she had covered her face. So he went over to her, and she was sitting and said, not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, let me sleep with you. She answered, what will you pay to sleep with me? He said, I will send you a kid from the flock of goats. She said, will you also give me something as a guarantee until you send it? He answered, what should I give you as a guarantee? She said, your seal, with its cord, and the staff you're carrying in your hand. So he gave them to her, and then went and slept with her, and she conceived by him. She got up and went away, took off her veil, and put on her widow's clothes. Then he sent the kid with his friend, the Adullamite, to receive the guarantee items back from the woman, but he couldn't find her. He asked the people near where she had been, where is the prostitute who was on the road to Inyan? But they answered, there hasn't been any prostitute here. So he returned to Yehuda and said, I couldn't find her. Also the people there said, there hasn't been any prostitute here. Yehuda said, all right, let her keep the things, so that we won't be publicly shamed. I sent the kid, but you didn't find her. About 3 months later, Yehuda was told, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has been acting like a whore. Moreover, she is pregnant as a result of her prostitution. Yehuda said, bring her out and let her be burned alive. When she was brought out, she sent this message to her father-in-law. I am pregnant by the man to whom these things belong. Determine, I beg you, whose these are, the signet, the cord, and the staff. Then Yehuda acknowledged Aliman. He said, she is more righteous than I, because I didn't let her become the wife of my son Shelah. And he never slept with her again. When she went into labor, it became evident that she was going to have twins. As she was in labor, one of them put out his hand, and the midwife took his hand and tied a scarlet thread on it, saying, this one came out first. But then he withdrew his hand, and his brother came out. So she said, how did you manage to break out first? Therefore he was named Peretz, breaking out. Then out came his brother with his scarlet thread around his hand, and he was given the name Zerah, scarlet.
Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh was the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the Ishmael, who was brought him there. Adonai was with Joseph, and he became wealthy while he was in the household of his master, the Egyptian. His master saw how Adonai was with him, that Adonai prospered everything he did. Joseph pleased him as he served him, and his master appointed him manager of his household. He entrusted all his possessions to Joseph. From the time he appointed him manager of his household and all his possessions, Adonai blessed the Egyptian's house, in the house or in the field. So he left all his possessions in Joseph's care, and because he had him, he paid no attention to his affairs, except for the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome as well.
In time the day came when his master's wife took a look at Joseph and said, "Sleep with me." But he refused, saying to his master's wife, "Look, because my master has me, he doesn't know what's going on in this house. He has put all possessions in my charge. In this house I am his equal. He hasn't withheld anything from me except yourself, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" But he kept pressing him day after day. Nevertheless, he didn't listen to her. He refused to sleep with her or even be with her. However, one day, when he went into the house to do his work, and none of the men living in the house was there indoors, she grabbed him by his robe and said, "Sleep with me." But he fled, leaving his robe in her hand, and got himself outside. When she saw that he had left his robe in her hand and had escaped, she called the men of her house and said to them, "Look at this. My husband brought in a Hebrew to make fools of us. He came in and wanted to sleep with me, but I yelled out loudly. When he heard me yelling like that, he left his robe with me and ran out." She put the robe aside until his master came home. Then she said to him, "This Hebrew slave you brought us came in to make a fool of me. But when I yelled out, he left his robe with me and went outside." When his master heard what his wife said as she showed him, "Here's what your slave did to me," he became furious. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, in the place where the king's prisoners were kept. And there he was in the prison. But Adonai said to Joseph, showing him grace and giving him favor in the sight of the prison warden. The prison warden made Joseph supervisor of all the prisoners in the prison, so that whatever they did there, he was in charge of it. The prison warden paid no attention to anything Joseph did because Adonai was with him. And whatever he did, Adonai prospered.
Genesis 40, starting at verse 1. Sometime later, it came about that the Egyptian king's cupbearer and baker gave offense to their lord, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh became angry with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. So he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison in the same place where Joseph was kept. The captain of the guard charged Joseph to be with them, and he became their attendant while they remained in prison. One night, the two of them, the king of Egypt's cupbearer and his baker, there in prison, both had dreams, each dream with its own meaning. Joseph came into them in the morning and saw that they looked sad. He asked Pharaoh's officers there with him in the prison of his master's house, "Why are you looking so sad today?" They said to him, "We each had a dream, and there's no one around who can interpret it." Joseph said to them, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell it to me, please." Then the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. "In my dream, there in front of me was a vine, and the vine had 3 branches. The branches budded, then it suddenly began to blossom, and finally clusters of ripe grapes appeared. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, so I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and gave the cup to Pharaoh." Joseph said to him, "Here is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your office. You will be giving Pharaoh his cup as you used to when you were his cupbearer. But remember me when it goes well with you, and show me kindness, please, and mention me to Pharaoh, so that he will release me from this prison. For the truth is that I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews. And here too I have done nothing wrong that would justify putting me in this dungeon." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was favorable, he said to Joseph, "I too saw in my dream. There were 3 baskets of white bread on my hand. In the uppermost basket, there were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds ate them out of the basket on my head." Joseph answered, "Here is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from off of you. He will hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh off you. You want to continue?
You're going to Amos, right?
No, it's verse 20 in Genesis 40.
Verse 20?
Yeah, and then you continue
Okay,
to read the
yeah.
parashah after that.
So verse 20 is what I stop at? Go to?
Verse 20,
Okay, on the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he gave a party for all his officials, and he lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the head of the chief baker among his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer, yeah, wow, the chief cupbearer, back to his position, so that he again gave Pharaoh his cup. But he hanged the chef baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Nevertheless, the chief cupbearer didn't remember Joseph, but forgot him.
All right, so now we go to Amos chapter 2, and then you read that because Maftir, that's the person
No,
who
it's
reads the.
Amos chapter 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Where Kamar, where are you at? What page is that?
8:16.
8:16. Yep. Go ahead. So it's verses 6 to chapter 3, verses 8.
Yep.
Yup.
Amos chapter 2, we'll pick up at verse 6. Hear what Adonai, the Lord, says. For Israel 3 crimes, no 4 I will not reserve it. Because they sell the upright for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes, grinding the head of the poor in the dust, and pushing the lowly out of the way. Father and son sleep with the same girl, profaning my holy name, lying down beside any altar on clothes taken in pledge, drinking wine in the house of their God, both with fires they impose. I destroyed the Emirai before them. Though tall as cedars and strong as oaks, I destroy their fruit above and their root below. More than that, I brought you up out of Egypt, led you 40 years in the desert, so that you could have the Amorites' land. I raised up some of your sons to be prophets, other young men of your to be Nazarene, people of Israel. Isn't that true? Asked the Lord. But you gave the Nazarene wine to drink, in order the prophets don't prophesy. Enough, I will make all this crush you, just as the cart overloaded with grain crushes what under it. Even the swift won't be able to flee. The strong won't be able to use their strength. The warriors won't save themselves. Archers won't be able to stand. The fastest runners won't save themselves. Those on horses who save themselves, on the day even the bravest warriors will throw off their weapons and flee, says Adonai. Chapter 3. Listen, in verse 1. Listen to the word which the Most High has spoken against you, people of Israel, against the entire family that I brought up from the land of Egypt. Of all the families of the earth, only you have I intimately known. This is why I will punish you for all your crimes. Do two people travel together without having to so agree? Does a lion roar in the forest where it has no prey? Does a young lion growl, trap on the ground? Does a trap spring up from the ground when it has taken nothing? When the shofar is blown in the city, does the people tremble? Up to verse 8, right?
All
right.
Continue with
Can
verse
disaster befall this city without Adonai having done it? Adonai God does not without revealing his plans to his servants the prophets. The lion has roared. Who will not fear? Adonai God has spoken. Who will not prophesy? Adonai God does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants the prophets. The lion has roared. Who would not fear? Adonai God has spoken. Who would not prophesy?
So we're going to Acts 7.
Verse 7, that's one of the memory scriptures.
Yeah.
15:68. Acts chapter 7 and 9 through 16, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now the patriarchs grew jealous of Joseph and sold him into slavery in Egypt. But Adonai was with him. He rescued him from his troubles and gave him favor and wisdom before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who appointed him chief administrator over Egypt, over all his household. Now there came a famine that caused much suffering throughout Egypt and Canaan. But when Yaakov heard that there was grain in Egypt, he sent our fathers there for the first time. The second time, Joseph revealed his identity to his brothers, and Joseph's family became known to Pharaoh. Joseph had sent for his father Yaakov and all relatives, 75 people. And Yaakov went down to Egypt. There he died, and did our other ancestors. Their bodies were removed to Shechem and buried in the tomb Abraham had bought for the family of Hamor in Shechem for a certain sum of money.
So it says, now there came a famine that caused much suffering. Who brings the famine?
The Most High brings the famine.
So we come on. When he brought it to Egypt and Canaan, right? So people always talk about like why good things happen, why bad things happen to good people, like why somebody died. You know, was you in the place? Where were you at? When he said, "Leave this place, I'm going to destroy it," why are you still there?
Right.
You
can't
so
talk
we have
to these
to
people.
consider those things. You know, like, if I told you to go and you're still there, and I told you, you know, remember verse 7. I revealed it to you before. I told you. And you're still in the place I told you to go. So it's like, but if I want to destroy everything, why are you bringing the famine to this land? And I told you, and I'm taking you out of Egypt. Why would you want to go back to Egypt? Like I said, why would you want to go back to Sodom and Gomorrah? I'm going to destroy it. Why would you?
Why would you want to turn back? Yeah, why would you want to turn back? Yeah, like yeah.
People say, you know, people ask the question, this, you know, why did someone so lie? Why did anybody, you know, why were you still there?
Right.
So those are things sometimes we can't answer when something God tells us to go. And nobody knows if I didn't reveal it, if I didn't discuss that with you. God told me to leave this place. And I know, Lord, I don't want to go. I like you.
Well, that's how much you won't like it because he's in the process of destruction.
Then he told some of them, don't go. I'm not with you. We're going anyway.
Yeah.
Go back to Genesis 37 real quick. Joseph said something.
Go back to Genesis 37.
Genesis 37. He says something that lines up with the Messiah, right? Joseph was the perfect servant. We understood it was something that stood out to me. I'll read it in verse. I believe it's at verse, no, that's not it. No, I'm sorry. 39. Yeah, I'm sorry. Chapter 39, I'm sorry.
Genesis chapter 39?
Yeah, Genesis chapter 39. We're going to pick it up. Let's pick up verse 7. Now, Joseph was well built and handsome as well.
You said verse 7?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
verse 6. That's the end of verse 6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, verse
So,
7.
okay.
In time, the day came when his master's wife took a look at Joseph and said, sleep with me. But he refused, saying to his master's wife, look, because my master has me, he doesn't know what's going on in this house. He has put all his possessions in my charge. In this house, I am his equal. He hasn't withheld anything from me except yourself, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?
Ooh, we be, amen. Bring that out.
One thing I want to notice, he said that everything in his master's house belongs to him.
That's Yeshua's words.
Yeah, go to John 16.
Yeah.
Those are Yeshua's words. Go to John chapter 16.
John 16.
Yep, because the Messiah, the master teacher, and because he said the same thing. Let me go to it. I'm going to read from the Greek.
John 16.
It's 16 and 14 or something.
Is it 16 or 17?
16 and 14 and 15. I was reading at 14.
Okay, we're at
John chapter 16.
mhm.
Verse
We're going to pick up verse 14.
14, okay.
I'm reading from a different translation real quick. He will glorify me because he will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I say that he will take what is mine and declare it to you. Hold on.
I think that, that's probably Matthew 11 that you want. But go ahead, keep going.
In a little while, you'll be, hold on. Is that what I want?
In a little while is where verse 16 starts.
Yeah, in a little while you will no longer see me, and again, a little while you will, no, it was something we said, what is the Father is mine.
Yeah, oh, that's verse 15.
Yeah, you read a little different in here, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I say that he will take what is mine and declare it to you. So in other words, you see what Christ is saying here is that whatever belongs to the Father belongs to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joseph, under there, you know that the Father is the master of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the Son. So we understand that, hey, whatever authority the Father gives me, I have that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow my sayings, the Father will also give it to you as well. So Joseph pretty much is just speaking, I would see this as prophecy in Genesis 39.
Yeah, that's
You said it was a common culture. And we always talk about even when Elijah told Naaman go dip himself,
Yep.
and then his servant went back for the riches, and then Elijah said, "Did not my heart believe?" So when I say I'm giving you all I have, I'm giving you everything I love. I'm giving you my heart.
Yeah.
So everything I possess, like you said, he said, you're his wife.
mm-hmm.
He gave me everything.
Yeah, but you're his wife. Yeah, that's something he don't
He
share.
didn't give me a wife. He gave me everything else.
Yeah.
So it's just something that they understood.
Yeah, that's one thing they've always had. Don't mess with another man's wife. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And then he also said, but when it came to sleeping with her, or when she was pressing him, he said, I'm sinning against the Most High if I do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because now you're talking about a whole other covenant.
That's a whole nother, that's a whole nother situation.
That's I have with God.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have an agreement with Potiphar.
Yeah.
But I had an agreement with the Most High.
Not to defile myself and not to do anything to nobody else's woman.
So I don't need you to teach me about that.
Yeah.
That's wrong in anybody's book.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And this is why Yeshua is called, in a sense, Messiah ben Yosef.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, in the dreams, who was going to bow down and worship? Who was going to be bowed down and worshiped to because he was equal with the Father? Yeshua. And the ultimate worship is to the Most High, whom that spirit is the spirit at work.
Exactly.
Right? That's why Yeshua was, in a sense, Messiah ben Yosef. Another thing is, Yosef, he did suffer. He suffered.
He did suffer.
He was suffered. He was sold. And the first time his brothers came to him, they didn't recognize him.
Yep.
The second time they came to him, they did recognize him.
Yeah. People don't see that.
So
The second time he said he revealed.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are
Interesting.
You don't see the
these.
I never saw it until right now, until you start bringing it out. And you start bringing it out,
Yeah.
then it's like, it's so clear. How could you not see it? But never saw it until right now.
Yeah, what they said in Christ, what they said to him.
He said he was a grown man, and the weather, the work, he's bearded. People recognize him.
Yeah.
Because he was just a little boy.
Now you're a grown man.
Now they identified his body physique, where he was probably the wife was like, yeah, he's strong now.
And this also ties into when you're saying the Most High causes a famine. Well, the Most High calls a famine, and then the plenty, the land of plenty, at that time was Egypt, Mitzrayim. So when the Father causes a famine to be in your land, it's pretty much saying, come up out of here so you can go to where there's plenty. And you go to where there's plenty, like, okay, now this is in my plan to get you to come to this place so you can meet back up with whom you need to be reconciled to, your brother. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the Most High does set a precedence and a protocol for how he operates, how he functions, how he works, you know, the process. So, yeah, but yeah, it's very profound. I like to add something to what you said. It's John 17 as well, when Yeshua was praying, when he knew the time was almost near. Starting at verse 1, says, Yeshua said these words and lifted up his eyes to the heaven. Actually, no, let me read it from here. The CJB, that's what we're reading from here. Sorry. Okay. CJB is what we're reading from. So, John chapter 17, verse 1. After Yeshua had said these things, he looked up toward heaven and said, Father, the time has come. Glory your Son, so that the Son may glorify you, just as you have gave him authority over all mankind, so that he might give eternal life to all those whom you have given him. And eternal life is this, to know you, the one true God, and him whom you sent, Yeshua, the Messiah. I want to go to verse 9. Let me see. Okay. I am praying for them. I am not praying for the world, but for those you have given to me, because they are yours. Indeed, all I have is yours, and all you have is mine. And in them I have been glorified. Now I am no longer in the world. They are in the world, but I am coming to you. Holy Father, guard them by the power of your name, which you have given to me, so that they may be one, just as we are one. And we know that one is Echad, right? Mm-hmm. And that's all I want to add. There you go.
Just to go back to what you were saying earlier about how the brother recognized him, and that just lines up with Christ. How when he went to Israel, he humbly told them, I am the one, I'm the Messiah, I'm the one who's going to supposed to be ruling over you. Get up out of here, dude. Are you serious? But they didn't recognize him. And then he got to a point to where it was like, are you the one? He was like, I've been telling you this whole time, now all of a sudden you want to come. You don't see the signs, you don't see what's going on. So that first time you didn't recognize him, but the second time, when he does make the second coming, we understand that to be the second coming.
That's right.
It's going to be no, oh, I told you, oh, I didn't know.
Somebody else.
Yep.
You're not going to know until he reveals himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the Father had a time for every place people were at, like where it was at. The family was at. It was time for family in that land. So he sent Joseph ahead.
Hallelujah. Come on.
But there was going to be plenty of it.
Come on.
Yep. That was the right time to send him there.
Well, with Egypt wasn't plenty until Joseph got there.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, you know there was going to be plenty, and you were going to have Joseph into a place where there was plenty at the time for his people to come to the land.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You always send people back to the land of plenty. Because different groups like the Amors or Amorites, you know that there could be family in that land at that time, and he's going to have plenty in Egypt at the time they didn't go there. So they were there. So when they came back to that land, it was the land of no bounds. You know, we prospered.
Wow.
So he always sent to the land of plenty. That's the point I was talking about.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I was just saying, because the word was saying that he prospered Joseph everywhere he went and everything he possessed. So it wasn't plenty until Joseph got there. And now Joseph was elevated because he kept prospering in a land where nothing was prospering.
Yeah.
So everywhere he went, even in the prison, he got elevated to supervisor.
Top guy, exactly.
He kept prospering as a result of Joseph.
Exactly.
You know.
But then in Egypt,
but that was, you know, just like his father. You know, he was saying, you know, he kept his life, like everything kept prospering, you know, because of victory.
well, I'll add this to that. Remember in the dream, in Pharaoh's dream, which we haven't got to yet, Joseph interpreted the dream, and there were going to be 7 years of the fat cows and 7 years of the slim ones. So the 7 years The fat cows was plenty, and the 7 years of the slim ones was famine. So there was going to be a time of famine. So yeah, your point is great in that because Joseph was there, Joseph actually had the idea to make provisions so that when the 7 years of famine would come, there would be definitely food in the storage. And that's when, you know, the brothers of Joseph, right, would come. Yeah,
They'll come back.
Yeah.
It was going to
That's
eventually, it was going to be eventually back in Joseph's favor.
Yeah.
Father always said,
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
Father
yeah.
orchestrates everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know.
Yes, sir. And it wasn't perfect too. It wasn't perfect. It was just perfectly how it came all together. And then Joseph being exactly.
Man.
And Joseph had to be faithful as well. I know for him to go to that with his brothers, he had to. I'm pretty sure the Most High had to be working on him. Like, don't do it. Don't go. Like, don't punish them for what they. That's not no. We're gonna teach them. Usually teach them a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But like I said, Joseph's a whole different.
Yeah.
Joseph had his dream. Joseph
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah, exactly. So I know that had to be kind of challenging a little bit on him. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm in this position. I'm an Egyptian ruler, and he grabbed whips.
Right.
But he didn't. So that just showed that he was obedient. He knew better. You know what I'm saying?
Can I make a point too? Is that Joseph was hated by his brothers for that. Hated by his brothers. Hated, sold them, and everything. You know.
Back to that in chapter
37. Go ahead.
Genesis 37.
Yeah.
Because that's always stood out to me. So in 37 verse 2, he said, here is the history of Yah. There's the history of Jacob.
Yeah.
You know, and it says Joseph was 17 years old. And all this, you know, all this started. Then in verse 3, he says, now Israel loved Joseph. But why the name change there? So this is the history of Jacob. But Israel loved Joseph. And then he said, why? Because he was the son of his old age. You know, so I mean, there's a different manifestation here.
Yes.
Israel's spiritual. Yeah, because it said Israel loved Joseph. So now all of a sudden we understand that Jacob is, that's the flesh, but the spiritual side of Jacob, which is Israel, you know what I'm saying? That's what matters. That's what stands out. That's what counts. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's So
now, one of the questions, you know, we know when God changed his name to Israel.
Yeah.
You know, but in the story, you know, it wasn't necessarily chronological.
Yeah.
So Joseph be born before his name changed to Israel or after. Because now he's saying Israel loved Joseph more than his other children.
Yeah, and the reason being is because Joseph was by Rachel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the one that Joseph really wanted. You know what I'm saying? Jacob really wanted Rachel. That's the one he set his heart for.
Well, I'm saying because in chapter 30,
before the birth.
In chapter 30 is when we know Joseph was born. You know, and then they told his name meant thou shalt have another. So we know that's Benjamin, but he doesn't know Benjamin yet.
Yeah.
They've never met. I mean, he doesn't even know that he has a brother. He had to ask that later. You know, and so now, but Joseph knew what his name meant. You know, we'll get there later. But now,
that's a good point.
You know, he changed his name to Israel. So you know, he's no longer Jacob. We look at Isaiah 43.
Yeah.
Jacob's name changed to Israel. Yep.
Wait, Isaiah 43 what?
It's on page 558.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where they're going.
Yeah, so verse 43 says, but now this is what Adonai says. He who created you, Jacob, He who formed you is you.
Come on.
Whoa.
That's what the
So
Most
now
High
here
did.
this is the story of Jacob, but now Israel, you know. So now he's talking about, you know, a different form.
Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck right there.
She said, I'm still stuck.
Just at verse 1.
Yeah.
Because again, you talk about just really, we saw that in Genesis, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you think, but then when you go right here, it's like, no. We talk about there's a difference if you talk about the flesh right here, and this is the spiritual. But it's letting you know that this is two completely separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reverse.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's what we forget when we get saved or how we put it.
Yeah.
That we are formed, we are a good person.
Exactly.
We are.
That's Israel.
And we keep
I feel
trying
like
to
we need to
save each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And we are not that anymore.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that's what
And this
Romans
is where the
says,
struggle
you transfer
comes
it
in.
on your mind.
Huh?
Christ said to be
Wow.
born again.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
but we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
Matthew 18 it says to be converted.
And that's where the
But-
fight and the struggle comes in.
Exactly. Now check out verse 2. Check out verse 2.
Of 40, Isaiah
48,
43.
43. Now check out verse 2. I
I'm
am
sorry.
calling you by your name.
Well, that's
You
still
are
verse 1.
mine.
It's still verse 1.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me
end
read
of
verse 1 and
verse
verse 2. Read verse 1 and verse 2.
Okay.
But now this is what Adonai says. He who created you, Jacob. He who forms you, Israel. Don't be afraid, for I have redeemed you.
Come on.
I am calling you by your name. You are mine. So, verse 2. When you pass through water, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you will not be scorched. The flame will not burn you. So who's he talking to? Jacob or Israel?
Talking to Israel.
So Israel.
Right.
Exactly.
It's time for Israel.
So I'm saying that because as we go through Genesis, he goes back and forth from Jacob to Israel. All through the book. Most people don't pick up on it.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a whole different manifestation. Now I'm talking to Israel.
Yeah. Come on.
So now
And we
we're
are
talking to us.
Yeah.
Yes. Hallelujah.
You know, but like I said, the old man, the new man, right?
Come on.
Exactly. That's what Israel is.
Yes.
And that's why it goes back to the 144,000 in Revelation chapter 7. True Israel.
Sometimes Jacob want to go back to the old man. But,
Yeah, but he can't.
But you're the new man.
Yeah, exactly.
He's reminded of the fact that he's
Yeah.
a man.
That
You got to keep always reading.
exactly that 144,000 and that mixed. I believe you.
Yeah, halfway through.
We just talking about the spiritual manifestation. Yeah, that's Jacob's son. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jacob had to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before he was born.
Exactly. The mindset. So when Joseph was born.
Remember when Israel, he got his name changed to Israel. He then became Israel after he took on that covenant and made.
Right. So
came
now
with that
we're in a
yeah.
covenant. So now out of the covenant, here comes Joseph,
Here
and
comes
then later Benjamin.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
so something changed right here.
Yep.
But that's
Exactly.
the same thing happened with Abraham.
Again?
The same thing happened with Abraham when his name was changed. Abraham was
covenant
Abraham.
with the Most High. Anytime you take on a covenant with the Most High, you're now under the Most High. You are formed as a new spiritual
And
creature.
then when you go down to
But
verse
yeah,
7,
right? Yeah.
in verse 7
That's
it says,
crazy.
everyone
Sorry.
who bears my name, whom I created for my glory,
Come on.
I formed him. Yes, I made him.
Yeah, New Testament.
So then even we go back into Jeremiah now.
Yes.
Talk
Oh man.
Man, I formed you.
Come on.
So we were all made twice.
But
Come on.
even,
Yes.
Yeah, he said he did say that in Jeremiah chapter 1. Yeah, he said in the womb I knew you.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. See, you see what happens when
But in Psalms,
The foundation of the world.
I can't remember what it is. There's a scripture, it's in Psalms, and it says, before, what is it, about creation in, let me find it.
It's all good,
right
it's all
on my
good.
tongue.
It's all
In
good.
Psalms, where he's saying the same thing, that formed you. You know, and so it's like that the form takes on a whole new, at least it should anyway, a a whole new understanding. Not even a meaning,
So-
but a whole new understanding.
Can I actually add to that?
Yeah.
You know, when people talk about the Genesis story in chapter 1, they say, okay, well, there was no shape to the world because there was no form. It says there was no form, but sometimes form doesn't even mean a physical shape. Sometimes it's a state of your mind or your heart or your spirit, right?
Spirit, yeah.
I was just adding that.
And the word is really, there was no understanding. So now we understand.
That's a good point.
Yes.
So like, even ourselves, it's like,
Yeah.
what do you
I am
understand
fearfully and wonderfully
about you, you know, if you don't know your form?
Yeah, perfectly wonderful, man. I know exactly what you're quoting. I just don't know where it sounds.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
It's in the one something.
What's that?
One,
It's
one,
one
one,
something, and I'm trying to
one,
find it.
What's that?
140. No.
What's
But
that?
he, but I'm
Talking
trying
about
to
I'm
fearfully
fearfully
and
and
wonderfully
wonderfully made. It's a sign.
Huh?
I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
But he's telling us, I mean, and this is what's coming to me right now, that with this scripture, because I think that a lot of times that we all, I know for me, one of the biggest things that really makes me feel good is knowing that the Most High actually chose me for a purpose, that there's intention behind me being created.
Yeah.
But he also, but then when you start looking at that and understand not only were we created, but he says that I formed you. Because we go through this whole process, I think, at least I know I did this process of coming into my relationship with the Most High. And then there's like a whole nother level of understanding.
His
It's like,
understanding.
yes. And then that's when truly we're renewing our mind, that formation is when that really begins. So we've been created, he says I created you from the foundations of the earth.
So when we talk about born again, like, in the new covenant,
Right.
now, conform, form. So don't be conformed to this world.
But see, that's a different thing. Wouldn't that be a different thing? To be conformed
Right.
after, because then it would not denoting that it's a change. It's an
So
adoption.
there's
of
a
something.
change still taking place, but
Yeah.
you look like the world,
Yes.
as opposed
Yes.
to being transformed,
Right.
you know, to look like me.
Hallelujah.
You know, me being him.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
reborn in the spirit, so when you
So, yeah.
reborn the first time in the spirit.
That's a good question, Brother Leon.
Yeah.
Y'all don't be catching what Brother Leon be saying. I be over
No,
That's right.
That
I
was
be
good.
over here getting up.
But,
No, that's it.
remember
That's
that?
what I was talking about too, though.
The Father bringing a whole lot of deep revelation to me. That's why-
Good one.
that's why I can't do it.
Yeah.
When he formed with them in the garden,
Come on.
Adam, you know,
Yeah.
Adam supported them.
He did form them.
It's female and what's it?
Yeah, he did. He
Well,
did form them.
a lot of people think they didn't have no kids until what's
After.
it?
Yeah.
But he told them to multiply.
Yeah.
But we don't know what happened to the first one.
Yeah.
Because we won't go there, but. So when Adam sinned, with all these souls that had to go out into this evil world. And this is who we are. Millions of souls. We don't know how long before he sinned.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't give us a time frame. They
Yeah,
could have been in the garden for 500 years.
He
We
was
don't know.
born then. He was born a perfect
Yes, sir.
spirit,
Yes, sir.
spirit at that time.
Yes, sir.
He was born a perfect spirit at that time.
Yeah, and that's why the Most High went so hard on Adam and Eve for disobeying him. That's why he said, if you disobey me, you're gonna die.
Yeah, why we got to go through all this? Because but he was born during that period of time.
See? So why we got to go through all this? See?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's see, 84, 14.
What you looking up
Form.
for?
Oh,
In this verse?
Sister Carly found the scripture that Sister Kamaya was talking about, and it's in verse 139 of Psalms.
Psalms chapter 139.
Psalms chapter 139, verse 13, which is, "For you fashioned my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb." And then verse 14 is, "I think because I was awesomely made, wonderfully, your works are wonders. I know this very well."
Gotta look up that word made too.
Yes.
And see if it's the same, definition of form, I guess.
Oh, and here's verse, reading on, through 15 and 16. My bones were not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes could see me as an embryo, but in your book all my days were already written. My days had been shaped before any of them existed.
Okay, let me say this real quick. In the scriptures ISR, when you were reading from CJB, when you said the word shape, in the scriptures ISR version, it says formed.
Yes.
Every time you said shaped.
Yes.
See? You see that right there?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. But it all
That's
ties
good.
together what you said, that where we have to go back to what the word means, get
That's
the
right.
in-depth version, because form and shape is not always a physical representation of what a spirit is trying to manifest.
Well, did you see? I'm telling you, Psalm 130. Okay, you're saying that
Sorry.
Psalm 139. That's in the version. It does say form, right?
In the
Okay.
scripture.
And so then once again, here we're going right back to the exact same thing and having to understand that the Most High is doing. It's more. It's like a multifaceted work that He does within inside of us. Because it's not just I've touched you here on this aspect of your being, but He does it to where I think that if we are in agreement with this, is the way that I see it, that if I'm in agreement with this work that's being done, I'm doing my part of this work, this daily, let me analyze what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. Is it measuring up? Is it not enough? To me, that's the sign if there's a form, a change, if that's even taking place. Because you have a whole lot of people who do a lot of lip service. What the Most High says? Because your lips say one thing, but your heart is far from you.
And so when you go back, we said they didn't recognize him because he changed forms.
That's right. Change forms.
He wasn't who he was.
Come on.
And so said,
That's why I didn't recognize Christ either.
when that happened, he said they
That's why they
began to
recognize
hate.
us.
Yeah.
That's why our families can't recognize us right now. Like,
Families
dude,
can't.
you look like
Yes.
Ashanti. You look like Brother Daryl. You look like Sister Kamaya. But wait, that ain't the Sister
You
Kamaya,
changed.
Brother Daryl Ashanti that I know.
Yeah,
Used to
we're being constantly changed.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Being changed.
Yep.
And so
Hallelujah.
like
All
he's,
right.
I'm conformed to this
Hallelujah.
world. You don't look like this
They
world
thought-
no more. What's going
Yeah,
on
they
with
thought Christ was gonna come.
Come
They
on.
thought the Messiah was gonna come and be this great glamorous.
so this is what we were talking about.
Gonna be a warrior.
We were talking about arguing, right? Because it says his brothers, right?
Yeah, you in chapter 37
When
of
it
Genesis?
says- It
Okay.
says they began to hate him.
Yeah, come on.
They didn't just hate him.
Right.
But as he started changing, they began to hate him.
Come on. Bring it up.
Until they reached a point
Bring it
they
out.
couldn't even talk to him.
They just
Bring
couldn't-
it up.
They couldn't even stand the hate no more.
Yeah. So they couldn't talk to him. They couldn't stand to be around him. He said, this Bible says they couldn't talk to him in a civil manner.
In the civil man.
So don't think nobody's gonna talk to you
Come on.
in no civil manner.
Come on.
Wow.
Walk away from them.
Say that again, bro.
They recognize you.
Yeah.
They recognize you.
Yeah.
So the problem is, do you know who you are? Because they coming.
It's-
They coming.
And
They see you coming a mile away, and they gonna gather themselves, and they coming. They coming.
Yeah.
So Paul warned them. Said, man, don't engage in meaningless conversation
Yeah.
with them because hold the whole unequally yoked and all. I mean, how many ways do we have to say this?
How many ways do you
But I
got
mean,
to
when
have
you
to say it?
You said you're stiff-necked,
Yeah.
Come on.
But now when it comes to us, so it's a whole different conversation now, right? We fitly framed together and all these. So when your brothers start acting up,
I'm with the elder right there. Who? Because
He talking about us in this room here.
why go out?
Oh, okay. That's the
No, because the Bible tells us when we get out of line, He tells us, go tell the church.
That's right.
Go get the elders.
Because we
Go
are connected to
because
each
we got to
other.
get you in line.
That's
We.
right.
Yeah.
We.
Connected
But
to
see,
each
but
other.
people don't want to be corrected.
I don't know.
People don't want to be corrected.
Ooh. Well then, then you don't want this Most High.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's how when Christ was correcting them, They didn't want to hear. They wanted to throw stones at them because they.
But we have to understand.
Huh?
But we have to understand that we do that. We don't throw stones, like you said. We do that in love.
Come on.
And the reason we do it is because we love the brothers. We love one another.
Hallelujah.
And so now, if we see the brother taking in the fall, those who are spiritual go seek to restore. Everybody ain't spiritual.
You better say.
They ready. They're coming to cast on.
I mean, he wouldn't have said that if everybody was spiritual, but he's making a point. Those who are spiritual, because everybody ain't spiritual.
Yes, sir.
Everybody ain't following the spirit. Everyone just think I know something.
Come on.
You know, and like I said, the barbershop ministry. You know everything in the barbershop. You know?
Yeah.
But no, don't go get them. You know, seriously. Then Paul was like, well, we finna go over here. Go get Mark. Go. I'm gonna tell you the one to go get.
Yeah, right.
Because when we go over here, we're gonna need them.
Yep.
But he didn't see. There's some other people he didn't mention. Don't go get them.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy because when it goes back to Abraham, the Most High told him to leave that father's house.
Come on.
He didn't say take Lot with you.
No.
He said you. Nobody else.
Good point.
And you see when he took Lot with him, you see what happened.
Well, but Abraham had sense enough to ask him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But
he did go back and Lord, can I? And it was my brother-in-law, man.
My nephew.
My brother-in-law, trying to help him out, man.
Yeah, but you see what happened. You see what eventually happened.
But I'm gonna let you go ahead and take him and see why I told you couldn't take him in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
And the most because there was some friction going on with all the people. So now all of a sudden that's why the Most High was like, see, from the beginning, I told you just to leave.
You said really, it wasn't Lot's fault. It was his wife.
Look back and
That's such a real story because how many times does the Most High give us specific instructions that we are supposed to do? Ooh. And inside of that specific instruction, and we ask, give me confirmation, show me again. You know, are you saying for sure that this is what you're gonna do? Okay, I get what you're saying. But what if I do it this way?
Ooh.
Okay.
What if I do it this way?
Okay, but what if I do it this way too? I'm still praising you. I'm still honoring you. I'm still giving you glory. Can't I just go ahead? You know, because I love my sister, I love my brother, and I love them. And you blessing me, and I'm such a light to them. If I go, who gonna be the light for them? So then you go ahead and you do that thing, and then look at what the people who the Most High never really assigned, I don't know, I'm just thinking, assigned as part of that. So you tell me, and this is just, and then you taking it to prayer, and you asking, but because you consider yourself to be the spiritual leader in your home, or among your friends, and among whomever, and you just start including them on what it is the Most High is giving to you. How do you not know that you are taking their path, what it is that they're supposed to be doing, or what you're supposed to be doing, switching and changing some stuff up? How do you know it doesn't affect the future down the line? It could be a big, giant hindrance. How do we not know? You know what I'm saying? And then inside of these prayers, because if my prayer should be, Father, help me to do your will for me.
Discernment. Pray for discernment.
I know it's discernment, but at the same time, we're talking about people who aren't, because our lives are so...
Because we still want to hold on to? You talking about, is that what you're saying? You still want to hold on to when the Most High sometimes is telling you to...
Time to let go. Mm-hmm. Time to move on.
Yeah, you want to bring him along.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's carrying you down.
I still got space. I still got space. They can
go. You know what they told the disciples? Leave. Can I at least go back? No.
And don't we see that happening all the time? And most of us say, no, you can't do that. Is that an issue of trust?
I said, even you can read Jeremiah.
Like I said, but we have to take that Amos 3:7 and hang it on the refrigerator.
That's right.
Hey, same thing. I think I forget where it is.
Jeremiah does nothing around revealing his plans
to his prophets.
Yep.
That is so true.
So, like I said, so if you did it, you did it.
Yeah.
And like if you go to like Jeremiah says, the Most High told Jeremiah, don't profit them.
Yeah.
The destruction that's coming upon them, they've been warned. Don't cry for them. Don't, no, you know what? Because you went to them and you told them this and you told them that, and they didn't listen.
That's right.
So guess what? Don't cry for them now. No. They should listen to you when they had a chance.
Sometimes go back to the question Sante asked, knowing the difference between when I'm helping somebody and I'm enabling somebody. Because the Most High might be working on that person, and here you come.
Yep.
It getting in the way.
Big S on your chest. Yeah, I know. Hey, he didn't send you.
Woo-wee.
Right.
That's
He
a
didn't need
good one right there,
you.
but
Well, the scripture's talking about they in the right.
Yeah. And so like I said, sometimes leave them alone because I'm working on them. I'm bringing them to a place to change. And now here you gonna come and give them another option.
Yep.
We do our children, right? Sometimes we give them too many options.
May I say something? Because in Hebrews
That is
12,
so
it's a quote from Proverbs 3. It says, the Most High chastens the one whom he loves. And sometimes the discipline don't feel good, but the chastisement gets you to do that 180 to come back. Just like the parents do with their
So
children.
like I said, if you're trying to go through this one door and it's closed, rejection is still direction because it's going to force you to go to another door. But now if I run in and unlock it for you,
Right.
and he let you in the door he didn't want you to go in, now I'm enabling you, which means I'm not helping you.
See.
And now he gotta talk to me again.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting in the way. So,
Wow.
so sometimes he say leave him alone. Leave him alone, I got it.
Hallelujah.
I'm already working on this. I didn't send you.
Hallelujah.
So like I said, we can't help everybody. We gotta help the ones he told us to go help.
Right.
Hallelujah.
And then the other one leave alone.
That right there.
That right there, but that's so hard for a lot of people to do because you come into a system, a religious system that tells you that every single person, and as a matter of fact, we were just looking at a scripture and I meant to hold it because what we just read was really going back to what we were saying even earlier too, and it's something that I think that people who are students of the word, we understand that everybody has a purpose. Some people is created for the specific purpose of destruction. Straight up. And it's not a message that people want to hear. People don't want to believe it, but the truth is the truth, And so I think that sometimes when we see someone who isn't doing or living a certain way and the religious system would have us to believe that every single person on the face of the planet deserves, and we are called to minister to every single person and to bring salvation to every single person, and that we're in the wrong if we don't believe that everybody is supposed to be a part of that.
Yeah, that is what's taught in that religious system.
It's a hard truth.
It's a hard truth, but that hard truth,
Necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary, and that's the thing too that causes some people. We were saying this earlier. Oh, that's what you believe? Oh no, see, I ain't never coming back here no more. No, that ain't right.
It's not for them.
It's not for them, and then it's
and the kingdom of heaven is hidden from them.
Yeah.
Because Christ said to a lot of them, he said, well, the kingdom is hidden from you.
Yeah.
If you can't take it for what it is, then it's there. It ain't for you then, because you have to truly want to see it. And that's why, like, it's a couple of brothers who I deal with, one in particular, and I love them to death, but I tell them, like, bro, you don't have to waste your time swinging the sword with people who just don't want to see it.
Say that again, B.
You know what I'm saying? And you already know this. You already know what's going on here.
That's right.
You see what's going on. Everything ain't meant to be false.
That's right.
So sometimes you just gotta let these individuals with their little egos.
That's right.
Just let them. They're there. They're in their mouth for a reason. The Most High is pretty much using them to let us know something. You know what I'm saying? And if you keep dealing with them for too damn long, if you keep dealing with them for too damn long, that spirit gonna jump on you.
Come on, you got to be careful.
So that's yeah, exactly. So that's why I always, you know what I'm saying, like a lot of brothers always talk about when you gonna do. Like, look, man, I'm not even really trying to address all that. you already see where so-and-so is at.
That's right.
So why even try to engage?
That's right.
I mean, try to clear some things up
Mm-hmm.
if they're distorting things. But I shouldn't have to debate a person just because we don't like the way how he's talking. Nah, man, it is what it is, man. If an individual wants to be set in their ways and don't want to see the light after they've been corrected various times, I don't have nothing for you.
Well, Brother Darrell say,
Yeah.
the passages say, shuck the dust, leave him alone. Let the Most High deal with him, right?
Walk away.
Right.
Sometimes, like I said, sometimes words say we're dealing with principalities.
Come on.
powers,
Yeah, and it could be a spirit on it.
So now it ain't got to do with them.
Come on.
It's a spirit.
It's only about you. So now, in order for you to go to the next level, I'm going to bring you something that seems impossible, because the word say, all things are possible with him.
Right.
And so now I'm trying to do something out of me,
Come on.
and I'm not powerful enough.
Yeah.
And so I'm blaming it on them because you being stupid. It ain't about them being ignorant. It's about me not having the power to do, like, what the disciples talk about, how come we couldn't do the things we used to do.
Yes, sir.
Like we was doing this.
Yeah.
And then, so there's, we wasn't strong enough.
Wow.
And they tell you, like, say, when you're dealing with demons, you're dealing with different things, and say, if you ain't right, then that demon gonna get on you.
Come on.
And so, you're gonna get whooped. And so now, it better not be nothing going on with you if you're gonna deal with certain things, Like he said, some of those things only go out by fasting and prayer.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
Not because you memorize certain scriptures. You better have been fasting and prayer, and you better be, I said, sevenfold spirit. You better have at least most of them.
Right.
You might have all seven, but you better have the right ones if you're going to deal with certain spirits.
Right.
And so, like I said, if you ain't there, walk away. Live for another day.
That's right. See? See?
Wrong demon, you be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not ready for it.
That's right.
I mean,
If you said it, if you're not ready, if the Most High Spirit is not with you, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't do the when you are dealing with people who are hell bent on just wanting to fight.
Yeah.
You know what, brother? I'm gonna let you continue to be a fighter. But if I have brought information out to show you that, hey, bro, you need to slow down and humble yourself and just be cool and maybe go back and re-examine what you're teaching, and you still don't want to listen, then guess what? I'm done with you.
Straight up.
I'm done with you. It's just that simple. But, you know what I'm saying? And I understand that there are people who are concerned that the things are being properly taught. I understand that. But it's not our battle to always go back and forth with the same individuals who don't believe. Sometimes it's best to leave them alone. Just leave them alone.
Like I said, they may be battling demons.
Exactly.
They can't get those demons off.
Yeah.
So now I'm coming to you, fighting angry, coming to you frustrated, fighting angry because of what I can't overcome. So now we looking at the person. God said hate the sin, not the person. So now, are you willing to deal with the sin, and still love the person?
Yep.
And that's hard. That's hard if we not, if come on, relationship. If I'm not spending time with the Father, I don't even recognize all the. I just look at it like people just. I have to fight. I got to fight. Argue.
You see? Yeah. Keep it.
So it's not. It's about.
Keep coming up.
It's always about us. We keep looking outside of ourselves.
Come on.
They're here. It's always about us.
Inside.
Well, because whenever you can point, whenever you don't, when you can do like this, then there's not a lot of work to do.
Well, like I said, every time you do that, there's 3 points.
People don't like seeing that because people don't want to be. Nobody wants to be accountable.
Man.
People don't like accountability.
Well, this ain't for
they
you.
They don't like accountability. We live in a day where people want to be right. They don't want to be wrong. They want to appear as if they know everything. So for me to say that I don't know, that I don't understand, that I don't get it, it's much easier to either continue arguing what I think, much easier to continue to argue what I feel, what I believe, because everybody's driven by emotions. And so when you're driven by emotions, then if what you're saying is uncomfortable, it makes me feel some kind of way, then immediately, I don't like that. Because it's making me feel something that I don't want to feel, and I don't have the ability, or not even the ability, but I don't have this word. I don't take the time to go through it to get what's going on, to get that maybe the Most High is trying to get me something.
Come on.
Oh yeah, because I can tell you, like me, I can be frustrated every day. I don't need no help. I don't need nobody around me. It's just certain things going on with me, and all I need is somebody to cut me off.
To spark it up.
So, and I catch myself all the time, you know, and I have to preach to myself, because the truth is, I'm pissed off.
Right.
Yeah.
Woke up pissed off.
Got out of the spirit.
But you know what? You were able to, it takes self-introspection.
Come on.
And it takes somebody willing to spend the time. We're told to daily take that time to reflect.
Yes.
I got to daily reflect on me and my character. Is my character not enough? And am I pleased? And really what it boils down is the Most High pleased with my heart.
Come on.
What am I saying? What am I doing? How am I presenting myself? If this is what I believe. And I'm not the scripture I was looking for, but this right here tells it says why. To me it does. It's what we were just at in John 17, but it's verse 12. When I was with them, I guarded them by the power of your name, which you given to me. This is the part that stands out. Yes, I kept watch over them, and not one of them was destroyed, except for the one meant for destruction.
Come on.
So that the Tanakh may be fulfilled.
Come on.
I truly believe that we have so many, especially in the times that we live in, you know, people like to be liked. People want to be a part of something. People don't want, no one likes to feel like the outcast. There's some of us who've been feeling like the black sheep outcast our whole life, and I do believe it's because the Most High said, because you are different, so I'm putting you over here. You know, but then there's those others that they're so attached to this world. We tell them, do not be conformed to this world. But they're so attached to this world that this right here, they can't see that. They don't even understand that maybe you're one that's been marked for destruction. The reason why it's not catching on, the reason why you feel the angst that you do, instead of being able to calm myself and realize I can't get set off and triggered, but you're the one who does get triggered. You are the one that just pops off. You're the one who makes excuses for the popping off. The one that says, this is okay. It's totally justified. Well, maybe that's because you one of these. That's what you're talking about. Because you were actually created for that purpose.
To show us something that we should
not be doing.
Exactly. So that's how I'm starting. And I'm glad you said that, because that's what I'm starting to look at certain individuals now.
Me too.
I'm just like,
why not?
Okay, brother, I'm
straight up.
Remember, you're not the favorite.
Come on.
Exactly.
That part right there, Brother Leon.
Not just saying.
But the word does say that, like, we are righteous, right? And it says righteous brings about peace.
Yes, sir.
Righteous brings about
If you walk
peace.
in a room and there ain't no peace,
Come on.
it ain't nothing wrong with them. If I'm righteous, when I walk in a room, my job, you know, I'm supposed to bring peace.
Exactly.
So if I'm jumping in the argument, I'm not bringing peace.
You're not in peace. But sometimes he only sends us in the battle just to show us that you're not walking in righteousness.
It's gonna fall in.
I mean, like I said, sometimes the only reason is to show me. So we keep looking at their situations, their attitudes, and what they talking about. And it's like, no, I wanted you in there because I needed you to show you in the mirror.
Yes.
Your righteousness is jacked up today. So I wanted to show you what it means to not have peace.
Yeah.
So now, if you ain't gonna bring no peace, I'm not gonna give you.
Come on.
So we gotta, like I said, we gotta recognize, when we're in some of the situations.
That's right. That's right.
And then just admit that,
Right.
well, what's going on with me? That,
Yep.
you got all these mean people around you.
Come on. Ooh.
So,
I did want to bring, go ahead, brother.
There's another situation here, the twin situation here.
The twin situation?
Yeah, the twin situation.
In Genesis 38?
Yeah, I think
I was gonna go there next. I was gonna bring something up with that next.
Yeah,
But
so-
there's this whole story.
So-
It's a break. It's a break between the story of Joseph, right? So
and
why is the father putting this
so-
break here in Genesis
so
38?
which one of
Go
them
ahead.
end up being the good one of these twins?
The twins that Tamar had?
Yeah. Because right from the beginning,
I know one in particularly was called Perez.
Perez, that's, yeah. And no, go ahead, BA. I was going to bring that up. Go ahead. Go
And,
ahead.
I know Perez makes it break through, and I think that's the bloodline on the side came through as well.
what
Correct.
came through Perez?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
He won the break. Okay, I want to go back and say, okay, now this has been going on. Abel and Cain,
Yes.
those were the last two
Ooh,
sons of God. The next child that he had after sin was Abel, was made in the likeness of Adam. When Adam sinned,
Come on.
Satan always was trying to come out first because it
That's
was
right.
heritage
Come on.
supposed to go through Western, but God
Come
not
on.
going to bless their heritage.
Come on.
Not going to bless Satan. That's why he said he hated Esau. You know, he hated Esau. See, Esau wasn't never supposed to get the Western.
Come on.
And he always let the mother know who's who. Well, I don't know about this case, but I'm just saying.
No, you're right. Because what you said something about Cain and Abel. You started with Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
And next, I would tie that into Jacob and Esau. Then I would tie that here with the twins.
Yeah.
There's always a bloodline there that may be the same. You were created the same, but when you are born of the Spirit, you're actually formed different now from the exact one you may look like. So there was division between Cain and Abel. There's division between Jacob and Esau. Now there's division between Perez and the other. And Perez was born second, right? He was born last. The other was born first. So what does Yeshua
Perez
say?
came out first.
No, but remember,
No?
the scarlet, the Zerach. Zerach was the one that was born first because he came out first.
Who?
Zerach.
So I'm gonna
the
make
one
that
had
connection.
the scarlet
I'm gonna make this
tied around
Yeah, but
connection.
he
his wrist.
said,
Okay.
Finger got tied on his hand.
he only drew his hand.
Right.
Oh,
He came out
okay.
second.
So
Okay.
Perez is the last, right? And the other is the first. But Yeshua says the last shall be first and the first shall be
what?
last. And the younger is gonna serve.
So that's been happening since the beginning.
No, the elder is going to serve the younger.
younger.
The elder is going to serve the younger.
So what does
I can't-
scarlet mean?
What does the scarlet mean? Bring it out. That's a good question. I mean, let's look at it.
Let us know.
That was good, Shanti.
That's Esau. I mean,
that was one of the specific colors.
Yeah, there's
red.
That,
What was?
that identified with the Ark of the Covenant. So there was something like scarlet purple, the royalty. Like there was one who was going to be crowned king.
Supposed to be, but then this person.
But then somewhere in the Bible, they also talk about when the Lord drew His hand from us and gave us mercy.
Well, that's okay. That's a good point.
So He says He drew His hand.
Well, I feel you. I was just trying to end with Yeshua because Yeshua, he's known as the breaker or the one who breaks through the societal norms, and he does come through this bloodline from this pretty much a levirate
Which one?
marriage.
Which one?
Sorry?
Which one you came
He came through Tamar. He came through Perez.
Perez. Yeah,
he came
yeah.
through Perez. Because if you read the book of Ruth, you know, Boaz and Ruth
Yeah,
had.
but okay, because it said here about them.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you on that. I'm just,
No, it's just, you know, you can go back and check. You can go back and read on that. Yeah. You can go back and go.
But Wesley was trying to get through there first, though.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But this time he managed to.
So I liken the scarlet also to I think I was also likening the scarlet to Esau. As Esau came out red,
Yep.
it pretty much meant hairy. You know, he was just rough, already grown. And when you're already grown, like, you're already set in your ways. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna let the Most High Spirit be imparted on you because you already set in your ways. You just want to do your will. You don't want to do the Father's will. So I was tying that in with what Brother Darrell said. You know, that point. So I said it could also be the red scarlet as, you know, representing Esau.
So
Esau.
it says
Go ahead.
scarlet is a brilliant red color. The tinge of orange. Scarlet is often associated with immorality and sin, particularly prostitution or adultery.
Yeah.
Largely because of passion referred to the great harlot, dressed in the purple and scarlet. Revelation 17.
Yeah, because the harlot was wearing scarlet.
Beautiful connection.
Real good
See?
connection.
See? And what did Esau? Esau gave up his birthright, right? Because he didn't want to be
He didn't
obedient.
care for it. He
Right.
didn't
He didn't
care
want to
for
be
it.
obedient to. He didn't want to be obedient to the Most High. You want to do your own will. That's immorality.
And
Right?
remember, Jacob and Esau, they were at war with each other inside the womb.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of like what's going on right here. That's what
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about right now.
Mhm.
yeah. And see, you know, this is what I was talking about, I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, with the Most High sets us apart. And that word sets us apart means, you know, we're divided. And sometimes people think certain division is bad. Certain division is of the Most High's will to distinguish who belongs to Him and who doesn't belong
That's
to
what it
Him.
means to be set apart.
That's what it means to be holy, right? To be
Yeah.
distinguished.
To be set apart means to be divided from those who are not.
Right. Right. So we see, like you said, the Most High been setting his line of work from the gate, from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
they've always been trying to,
always been trying,
trying
yep,
to mess it up.
always been trying to mess it up.
That's why he have to let the other people know when he chooses.
Come on,
It's not about you.
not about you.
It's not about the natural things. You know who God is for.
Yeah,
And so I always call the name because it said the names will always tell us what we're asking.
hallelujah.
The answer to the question is usually in the name.
Yeah,
Sometimes we just read over the names. And we don't want to,
yeah,
nobody wants to read Matthew 1,
right.
He got, we don't get nothing out of that,
Right.
Just go on to Matthew 2.
Yeah.
Like I said, but the
With the name
bloodline,
means
like you
you
said,
had one of
when
them.
we talked about Joseph, we're talking about another bloodline.
Mm, yeah.
But
No,
that goes back to
It's just so profound that it was a break. You know, the Most High took a break in between this story of Joseph to come
Yeah.
and tell us this
Yeah, so
prophecy. This
sometimes,
is crazy.
the way you're reading it chapter by chapter
Yeah.
is not chronological,
Mm,
and so, we have to go back, and that's why, like the parasols, when the parasols take us
yeah.
in that direction where it puts it all together
Right.
for us.
What were you gonna say, Rosina?
No, I was just going to say that goes along to what we were discussing earlier when we were talking about discernment of when people come to you asking questions or wanting to know scripture, and you have to know and that discernment and understanding where they are to be able to know how to talk to them, because I for the longest times had issues with reading the Torah because, yeah, I skipped over all the names because I never understood that there was meaning in the names. it's just been within the last couple of years that even with myself and understanding that I am a new creation, that he's given me a new name, and knowing part of my name is my identity, and that has something to do with my gifts, my functions, my walk with him, my relationship with him. So I have to have that understanding before I have the understanding of what I'm reading. And so that has value, because when you give a person the understanding of, you can't just skip over things, you can't just wash over stuff, you know, right? And you have to, and that's why for me, I take this when we talk about myself, I like puzzles, and I can get this as a puzzle because I'm not going to read it, like you said, in chronological order. Sometimes I'm going to take a little bit from the beginning, from the Old Testament, and then sometimes I'm going to take a little bit from the New Testament, because they're parallel in what they're talking about. So I have to look at it as a puzzle and be like, okay, I'm putting these pieces together to get that better understanding in what I'm reading, and I just can't read it from cover to cover.
Yeah.
It's not like a book, or like a novel.
Yes.
That you could just pick up and just start reading and follow all the main characters from the beginning to the end. And I know that's how I used to read the Bible. And I was excited about that and thought everybody should read it like that. It's the best story ever. Just read from Genesis to Revelations. You get to see everybody, you get to find out what's going on with their life.
Yeah.
That's the best way to read it.
Yeah.
You know, until you start really looking at it, and as you're saying, you can't. Not if the intention is to gain insight, to gain understanding, to truly enhance my relationship with my Creator,
right.
understand what He's done. I can't read it from Genesis to Revelations like this novel. I can't. I'm gonna be messed up. I'm gonna be caught up in who's Israel, why he got his name changed, what happened?
Right.
Why? Because I'm approaching it from a fleshly point of view. My whole approach is one that says, let me be entertained. Not educated, not let me get an understanding. No, because because how many times have been told, I can't read King James Version, that's boring. I can't do the thous, and how can you read that? I don't understand any of that. Again, you're looking for a fairy tale. You're looking for something that's going to make you feel good, be entertained by it. You're not looking for no truth. You're looking for a real good book. That's why they even had a years ago a version of the Bible called The Book. It was, you remember that? Long years ago, yes. It's a version, it's like in the 80s. And it was called The Book. And it reads like a good storybook. Wow. You know? You think I'm playing? But that's why they started, that's where you got all that. You know, people they love the Message Bible. Because the Message version, it speaks to you in a way to where it's very easy to follow, very understanding. And that's what they're looking for. Give me something, I don't understand all that. What you mean? You need to try to understand it. And I think we can all attest, at least I want to believe everybody's been there. You read through, you're going through either it's the Table of Nations or you're going into Matthew. It's like, okay, I'm going to skip all of that and jump right here. Because this is where the story begins. You just skip the whole story.
All scripture is good.
That's right.
Everything.
Towards the 2 Timothy. Yeah, all scripture is good for edifying and correction and everything else comes.
To quote that scripture, they tell you that scripture is true. They love taking it. Then they'll turn around on the next Sunday and give you something where they done took scripture, twisted it, plotted, took stuff out of it. But then they just told you the week before that all scripture is good.
Yeah, I know one of the things that the church community is really angry about, especially black folks, is the names we give our children.
Oh yeah.
So you talk about when you come out the youth, it's like sometimes just their name is so confusing to them, it causes them stress in their life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You made me Mercedes after the car. So how'd you get your name? Well, my mama liked that car. But that's her favorite perfume, so. Chanel number 5 Johnson.
I've had girls in my programs. I mean, I've had Moets, champagnes. Oh yeah.
And now they name boys after like an NBA player's nickname.
Yeah. Yeah, a nickname.
That's not a real name, that's a nickname, Juice Johnson. Hey, Juice.
Why?
That's your
Y'all
real
don't
name.
get it because I do. No, he's talking about the song. Instead, I see you walking in the rain. That's what it is. Orange Juice Jones. That song, yes. But anything else we wanted to bring out? Because we brought out pretty much.
That was good.
Yeah, we went in today.
Mine did all the time.
Hey, hey. Let me tell y'all something about Kamaya. She be acting like.
Kamaya ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah. She be acting like she ain't got nothing to say.
I don't. And I ain't got too much to say. Not too much.
Praise the Most High.
Praise him.
All right, be
Right?
Hey, everybody, thanks for following with us. We're going to close out. We're going to close out in prayer first, and then we'll close out.
I do want to say real quick, for those who are joining in online, appreciate you, love you, hope you were edified. Everything we brought out, please go back, validate and verify. We hope that you are encouraged to maintain your relationship with the Most High, get some prayer in, some meditation, some self-reflection time in, some conversation with the Most High, so that your relationship can be on point and that you can get revealed to you what the Father needs to have revealed to you so you can walk this walk properly. Love y'all with the love of the Most High. We're going to close out in prayer. Thank y'all for joining us. Hope you join us again.
We're going to close out. Heavenly Father, we come to your name. Thank you. We thank you for bringing us all together on this Sabbath, and we thank you for the edification, the wisdom, and the jewels that was dropped from everybody. And we pray and we thank you, Heavenly Father. We pray to continue to manifest your plan to all who are here, to all who are watching, and those who are going to watch on the recorded archive on the channel. Heavenly Father, we pray as we leave from this place that you guide us and protect us and keep us safely and get us home safely and to our final destinations. We ask and pray in Christ's name. Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody, we're signing off. Shalom. Peace.
Oh, let me turn the camera around so everybody can say shalom. Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.